And we're live. Howdy, howdy, everybody out there.
Good morning.
Good evening.
We have a special guest today. Our good friend Benjamin Smith is here. He's the author of Why Are You Sick? And he has come in today to talk about his book and be part of our live Q&A and answer some questions. So,
hey, can I say something? Can I say something really quick, Todd? I'm speechless to those transformations. Lindy, you look fabulous.
Thank
Todd,
you.
you look fabulous. And Michael, I'm speechless. I've never seen that where you have an oxygen on and stuff, and you look horrible. You look fantastic, Todd.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
I mean, I'm sorry. I had to say that. And Lindy and you both, Michael, too. I can't believe it.
I know. You know what's amazing is Lindy is less than 30 days away from getting her first skin reduction surgery. Yep. So that's she's about to put the cherry on top
fantastic, here. Lindy.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
She's
instant
down over
10 kilo drop just by skin. Wow. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for being here, Benjamin.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
That's awesome. So, want to tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what brings you here today?
Yeah. So, my name is Benjamin Smith, and I'm an author, a writer. And one day I woke up and said to myself, something's wrong with health. And, it actually started back when I was a kid. For people listening, I ask all these questions. I go, why is the sky blue? Why is grass green? I just wanted to know everything. And my dad got mad at me. He's all, do you want me to answer that? Or are you going to answer that? I'm like, yay. So he'd always yell at me. And it turns out, I'm 55. So when I was, I went to college. High school, college. And then for 30 years, I owned an auto detailing company where I clean cars. And I still do that. But about 10 years ago, and I've always mentioned health, about 15 years ago, one of my sisters was diagnosed with cancer. And my mom was diagnosed like in 1985, but I had no idea what cancer meant. I thought it was genetic and all. I didn't know anything. I was only 15. And so, anyway, so 15 years ago, my sister was diagnosed. And then in 2012, she passed away. And I was like, this is not cool. I thought to myself, I don't think the body wants to kill itself. So I just did all this research and I just started looking at this stuff, if the body is perfect, which it is, then all these mechanisms are happening for a reason. And I thought to myself, all these things, we weren't designed to have doctors. A million years ago, there's no doctors. So whatever created us, had to make us, self-renewing, so to speak. And that's kind of the premise I went from. I started from that kind of hypothesis that if our body's perfect, then there's got to be reasons for all these things. So then I studied for 10 years, read hundreds and hundreds of papers, studied for 10 years, put that model together. We can discuss as pieces. I'm like, okay, well, if inflammation causes mitochondrial dysfunction, then maybe mitochondrial dysfunction causes chronic dehydration. So I kind of put all these pieces together, and then I cross-referenced them hundreds of times to make sure they were correct. And then I thought, okay, I'll make the factors. And so this is when I was writing my book too. About 3 years ago is when I started. And so, but I've been working on the model for about 10 years. And so I put all those factors in and go, what are the bad factors that are going to cause people to have problems and chronic disease? And then what are the factors that are going to give you optimum health? And I thought, okay, well, optimum health is going to come from eating good food, sunlight, grounding, breathing. I remember you talked about, Todd, you talked about Wim Hof breathing on one of your live. Yeah. And it's in my book that I gave you. And breathing is crucial to your health. And it's probably one of the number one things that determines your health span is if you mouth breathe or nose breathe. If you're mouth breathing, it contributes to all chronic diseases, period, all of them.
Wow.
Every one of them: gout, Alzheimer's, heart disease, Crohn's disease, everything, because it's all related, right? So that's the thing. I figured everything was related. And so I wrote this book, and it's the foundation of my book is this model called the Ultimate Health Model. And it is a blueprint and a holistic framework for you to figure out your health challenges. So let's say, I don't know if we can bring it up on the screen or not, but if let's say you have, I don't know, a disease, let's say you have Crohn's disease, you basically put Crohn's disease in the top box on the red side, and then you follow it like a blueprint. And so if whatever, and the way I figured out is everything's caused by the same thing. So there's not, you don't have to have different factors for everything because it's all caused by the same thing, and the solution is all the same thing. That's what I figured out. And
that's awesome.
Together in a framework that's what a 10-year-old could understand. You go, Mom, I'm doing these things. I'm not doing these things. And that's pretty much it. And then I put it all together, and the chapters are laid out in that fashion. Breathing, is critical. Sleeping, you've talked about that before. You've had those people on your show. Water, something called structured water. We can talk about that. Food, obviously, you don't want to eat sugars, processed food. Exercise is critical, and building muscle. Protein. What do they always say? Todd, Lindy, Michael, they say, "Oh, we're all eating too much protein. We're not eating enough protein."
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, and then people go, "No, way too much." No, we're not eating enough.
100%. Yeah, I believe obesity is actually a malnourished, as a malnourished state, not an overeating state.
Absolutely, and it's a chronic inflammation state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From all the things that people are doing in society, and it's not just one thing, and that's why that model is so important, because it's like, I think it's 13 factors on the red side, which is the bad side, and then 12 or 13 on the green side. And you follow that model, and everybody that's I've worked with has seen improvement. It's fantastic. I mean, it's amazing. My stepmom, she's 70 years old, and she hasn't been sick in like a year, and she's under tremendous stress. My publisher had some skin problems, and they cleared up. My web guy had arthritis that got better. So it's just everyone, and myself. I mean, you're a testament to this too, Todd. You say all these things that improve. I was like, Todd's wrong. Todd's crazy. It's not. He's not. There's no way. There's no way. But he's right.
For sure.
He's right. And I had gum disease, and I got better. I had a cavity that went away. And one of the most remarkable things for the people listening is my vision got better. I was like, is this real? And I'm like, I went to the eye doctor the other day, and the chart, and they're like, because it was like 20/30 before with my glasses on.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at the chart. He's like, okay, read that. I'm like, A. I'm like, what was that, 20/30? He goes, no, it's 2015. I'm like, what? 2015?
Yeah.
You can't even get that with glasses.
That's awesome.
I'm just so happy to be part of this community. I feel like you guys are, I don't even know you guys. I just met you guys. I love you guys. I feel like you're my friends, because you feel so alone in the world with everyone that's not doing this, thinking you're crazy.
That's 100%. That's 100% sure. That's why, true. That's why I'm such a big fan of the Steak and Butter Gang carnivore community. People think that we get paid to advertise them or be there, and it's like, no, we donate our time there because it is so good to have a community where we can help combat, the propaganda, combat the brainwashing that our society has done to everybody, to where, we try to, if you're not in a community, you're gonna watch your videos, but then you're going to go out there in the real world, and the society is going to beat you down and say that you're going to get, colon cancer, you're going to have heart disease, you're going to have high cholesterol and blood pressure, you're going to have a stroke, you can't live without vegetables and fiber, and you're going to have, digestive distress and all this stuff. And they tell you you're crazy. But then you go into like Steak and Butter Gang, and, they have like 1,700 members in there of people that are healing every day. We have meetings just on non-scale victories where it's success story after success story of miracles happening, of disease healing that the doctor said was never going to go away. And they're showing blood work, and they're talking about, they're walking, without wheelchairs and without walkers again. They're going back to work there. Yeah. And we watch it every day, and it's like, okay, show me the drug that you got prescribed that ever did anything like this, where we're watching it happen over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And speaking of drugs, is that on my model, it says medications cause or contribute to inflammation. And, so it might help in one area, but you're causing massive stress on the cells because they have to detoxify that. And so and why they say side effects include blah, 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 because they're not good to be taking.
Well, for sure. And I mean, I'm no doctor, but when you hit on something that I've long believed, and that I started noticing a pattern on early on, watching my dad go through his health problems, and my brother, and just having so much family in the sick care system getting drugged to death, and watching this, you hit on the fact that, there's really only one catalyst and one cure to all these different diagnoses. And that's what I noticed. I was like, I think they've given all these symptoms names, and they call them different conditions because then they can treat them one at a time and pretend like they're not linked. They can sit here and just treat symptoms all day long and tell you that this symptom is your disease. And then they go over it and they treat it like it's an isolated incident, when it's all connected, and it's all comes back to our diet, honestly, and not poisoning ourselves. And if you just treat your diet, you don't need any of these drugs. I mean, for the most part, unless you've done some serious permanent damage or something that takes a lot longer to heal. But most of this stuff is taken care of by the body when you give the body what it needs to heal, and you eliminate the inflammation. If you nurse the body, eliminate the inflammation, the body's flat amazing about what it can do.
It can do anything, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's I was just because you brought that up, I was going to say this. I wrote some notes. I lost my hair when I was 30. I went bald, and I got a transplant, and because I didn't want to be bald. It was really self-conscious, and so everyone says that that being bald is going bald is genetic, and there's a very small percentage that's genetic. The main thing is inflammation, and what the Dr. McDougall, the vegan doctor, I don't agree. He passed away, unfortunately, but I didn't agree with his vegan views, but he said that same thing. I was watching a video. He says, no, but male-pattern baldness is an autoimmune condition. And I thought, oh, and so, you've heard of DHT, right? High DHT levels. Well, guess what? So the reason you have high DHT levels is because DHT acts like an antioxidant. And there's research out there. So the body's once again trying to protect itself. So you're eating crappy food, you're stressing out, you're doing this, you're doing that. So the body's producing all that DHT to try to protect itself. And when I realized that, I was like, there you go. Once again, like we're talking about, the body's never doing anything wrong, ever.
Right. It's just doing the best it can. Well, with that in mind, I've got some questions for you, if you don't mind, based off your book. So we're going to go down it. So the first question we have is, what is one major health myth that keeps people sick, and how can we help people get free from that belief in that myth?
What's one? Man, that's a good question and a tough one. What's one major health myth? That cholesterol causes heart disease. I mean, that's one of them, right?
Right. I was going to say it's hard to pick one. It's hard to pick one. I can pick like 12, but
oh yeah, absolutely. And so people assume that cholesterol clogs your arteries like sludge and saturated fat clogs a pipe, which is absolutely ridiculous because that's not how it works. First of all, cholesterol is held in something, and they call it LDL, bad cholesterol. LDL is a particle that holds cholesterol along with, vitamins or minerals, vitamins and minerals, fat soluble vitamins, fat soluble vitamins, fatty acids as energy sources. So it holds it in these particles, and it has to, because the blood and the water and these fats don't mix. So that theory right there is ridiculous, because just on its face, I love Lindy's smile, because it's ridiculous.
For sure.
Because if these things don't mix, then you'd have a blood clot, or some kind of clot would go to your brain or your heart instantly. So it's absolutely ridiculous. The fact that, so if that is true, cholesterol causes heart disease, which it doesn't, then why is the same amount of circulating LDL that's in arteries is in veins, but there's no atherosclerosis in veins? Okay, answer that question, people. They can't. Why does it only happen at bifurcations, which is where the blood vessels come together, like the arteries? So you have the coronary artery, and they branch. At the branches, the flow is so turbulent that what happens is the endothelial cells get damaged because there's something called a glycocalyx layer, and we can discuss that later if you want. But there's this layer over all cells that protects them. And when you eat high sugar or you cause inflammation, it damages that glycocalyx layer, like this fuzzy layer on the endothelial cells. And then with that turbulent flow hitting the endothelial cells constantly, it causes inflammation. It causes a sense of reaction from the signaling cells and signaling things to say, okay, we need to fix this. So if you just think about things, it's just, sorry, I just kind of get wow, it's just not hard to understand if you just use one brain cell.
For sure. 100%. Hey, I want to take a quick break too, and just let everybody in the chat know, please get your questions in and put a Q in front of them. If you have any questions for us or Benjamin, for sure. And also, I forgot to lead into this, but we are giving away a tasty air fryer today. I forgot about that, but our friends at SBG, they were gracious enough to give us a free air fryer to give away. So on behalf of SBG, we are giving away an air fryer. So first time for that, but it was awesome. I was so happy for him, but I wanted to throw that out. So stay tuned at the end. We'll be giving away a tasty air fryer. And then coming back to this. So I always say that the thing that I'm guilty of most when it comes to my health is, I got deceived, but the thing that I'm guilty the most was I was a food addict. So I wanted to believe and delegate my health, and I wanted to believe the lie that there was a magic pill out there that would allow me to continue to be a food addict and have my cake and eat it too, right? So I chased the white coat charlatans that were trying to sell me this lie that I could be an addict, and they would make it all okay with a pill. Yeah. And with that in mind, in your book there, you talk about small daily habits. I think the closest thing that I've ever found to the actual magic pill comes in the form of small, consistent daily habits, because those add up to big things. What are some small daily habits that you would mention and recommend for people that might actually turn out to be their magic pill?
Well, that's a great question, Todd. And the first one is keep your mouth shut all the time, without fail. Unless you're eating, you keep your mouth shut. Why? Because like we talked about, mouth breathing causes inflammation, contributes to inflammation, period. your gum health will suffer. You'll get cavities. It dries out your mouth. Remember, I don't know if you read this part in the book yet, but remember I write that mouth breathing can contribute to something like SIBO. And no one's thinking, SIBO, how could, because of inflammation. Then that what happens is that reduces your stomach acidity and volume, which causes more inflammation. Then so it's all connected. So at night you want to tape your mouth shut. Now, if you want to practice in the day keeping your mouth closed, and if you eat a lot of carbs, it's hard. If you're stuffed up, then you can't. So you got to practice. The more you breathe through your mouth, the less you can breathe through your nose, because that causes inflammation. It can come into your nasal passages. But nose breathing at night is a game changer. Once people do that, it's a game changer. There's mouth breathing strips you can buy, obviously, but that is crucial. The other thing that I do every day is I walk every morning and every night, at dawn and at dusk. You get the sunlight in your eyes without sunglasses. That is a game changer there. First, you get the exercise from the walking, but the sun is, it's been vilified, but it is the holder of all information and all processes. Electromagnetic energy is where all information is stored. Whether it's sunlight, infrared light, ultraviolet, all information comes. I'm going to say, no, it's not stored in light. It comes from light. It's stored in water, called structured water in your body. That's the basics of how it works. So when you wake up in the morning, you get the light in your eyes. The light coming into your eyes right at dawn actually is a precursor to all your hormones. So they call it retinol. You've heard of a vitamin called retinol. The reason they call it retinol is because retina, vitamin A. So all your hormone precursors come from light. Your microbiome starts building with light. Your cholesterol will go down. Your blood pressure will go down. Light is doing all of that. And to be honest with you, when people talk about building your gut microbiome with a vegan diet or carnivore, one of the biggest ways to build your gut microbiome is with morning light. That is more important than your diet. Getting that light in your eyes, and at nighttime, it starts the melatonin production. It starts cell repair and regeneration. It's basically what it's doing is setting your biological clock. You've heard of circadian rhythms, correct?
For sure.
Yeah, that's what it's doing. And so when you get in the morning and night, you are basically tuning your body. Like, okay, in the morning, okay, now it's going to get running for the day. At night, now it knows what to do for nighttime. You have to do that.
For sure. I can definitely confirm that in my own experience. When I first started carnivore, I became a biphasic sleeper.
Great.
And I was not particularly tickled with that because it was screwing up my schedule. But I did end up, so I'd go out first thing at dawn, and I would get sun in my eyes. I'd take off my glasses, get sun in my eyes, and then I would look out on the horizon for 20 minutes, and I would let my eyes relax, and that helped my vision. And I would sit out there and do Wim Hof breathing. And that would help my vision. That would help me wake up in the morning. And it did end up kind of recalibrating my circadian rhythm. However, what's funny is now I only need about 5 hours of sleep a night. But I wake up with the dawn phenomenon about 3:30 in the morning. And what I found out is as long as I don't fight it and I just get up with when I wake up naturally, that I'm just up and I have the best energy all day that's sustainable. If I try to sleep after that, it backfires on me. I don't feel good trying to force myself to go back to sleep. But
yeah, that's absolutely correct. And the other thing is grounding.
Yeah,
grounding is so important. And I have a grounding pillow at my house here. So I try to, when I go outside, I sit in the grass, at my local park and ground myself. But if I don't do that, I have a grounding pillow. I recommend grounding mats when you're seeing your computer, whatever, because the grounding is basically the body's way of getting electrical nutrition. And the biggest antioxidant is not blueberries. It's Earth.
For sure.
Earth is the biggest antioxidant. Period.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, you can actually see it on a multimeter. I'm an electrician by
Yeah.
trade, and I've actually tested that because I have grounding sheets, grounding pillowcases, grounding bed sheets, and grounding mats. And that was one of the first things that I noticed. And as soon as I was using a true RMS multimeter and saw that the transient voltage in my body actually decreased when I was grounded, I was like, okay, this is real.
This is real. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing is structured water. Nobody knows about it. No one knows what that is. And we can talk more about that in detail if you want, but it's basically water that's an altered structural pattern to the molecules. So,
and how would, I guess my question is, why would we need to do that? And how would that have been, let's say 100 years ago? Was that the natural state of the water?
Yes. Yeah. So water in nature is structured. So when it's put through pipes, it destructures it because water goes like this, right? It doesn't go like this. That destructures it. So basically, like I said, structured water is water that's connected to each other, molecules, as I write in the book. So it's like Lego blocks. They connect together and they break apart 1 billion times a second. There's a lot of skeptics going, there's no such thing as structured water. Well, structured water works with consciousness too. So if you don't believe it and you're doing studies on it, it's not going to work for you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's more ethereal than that. They're like, oh, it doesn't work. Okay, but it does. And so, so they come together and break apart. And that's what's creating information, or not, because the light creates it. That's what holds all the information. And interestingly enough, the body's main job, remember I write in the book this, the body's main job is to structure water. That's its main job, and 50% of your energy goes to structuring water every day. If you drink it structured, how much energy is that saving? So your heart pumps. It doesn't pump. It's what's called a hydraulic ram. It opens and closes the valves. Right. Thomas Cowan, I don't know if you know who that guy is, but he's a really smart doctor. He says that it doesn't pump blood. The body can't. They say it's physically impossible for the pressure to be able to pump through all those blood vessels, especially the smallest ones, the capillaries, and have it stop. If the blood stops at the capillaries, at the finest, the smallest vessels, that would require 1 million times more pressure. So it's a hydraulic ram. And what's moving the blood is the water structuring the sunlight. And Dr. Gerald Pollack, who I interviewed for my book, who's a really, really intelligent man, that they've done studies. He did studies on this. And they did it where they took light and they saw how it was structuring the water, and the water was flowing. So the light is moving the blood, and blood's water. It's helping to move the blood. And the heart doesn't pump; it spins. So every time the heart pumps, the muscle of the heart is like a bunch of muscles together in like a twist, like kind of twisted. So it turns
like a valve shutting off.
No, it's spinning the water.
Oh, I gotcha.
Like a vortex.
Yeah.
It's spinning the water to structure it, and the blood to structure it.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so that's the body's main job, is to structure water.
That's awesome. Let's see. Let's take some starred comments here real quick so we don't get too far behind on them, and then I have a whole bunch more questions for you. So
absolutely.
Let's go. So let's see. Carnivore Transformer says, welcome, Benjamin, to the podcast. We appreciate you, Carnivore.
Thank you.
And then let's see, Carol. Wow, which skin reduction? What's going on? Well, what's going first, Lindy? What do you have removed?
My tummy. Yeah, I've got about 10 kilos. I don't know what that is in pounds. Is it like 20 pounds or something worth of skin? Just 22. Yeah, just sitting there waiting to go. So that's the first one to do. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I got to shout out all the awesome supporters here. We've never done any kind of fundraisers or anything ever on this channel. We've never tried to sell anything on this channel. We've never done anything, but when the stupid insurance company in Australia wouldn't cover Lindy's surgery, me and Michael launched a GoFundMe for her, and you guys have come through. You guys are incredible. We got a little ways to go, but isn't it crazy that the healthcare, or sick care, I should say, systems will pay us all day long to keep giving us drugs and keep us sick? But boy, if you're like Lindy and you take your health in your own hands and you lose 500 plus pounds, they won't help you get the skin removed. That's, she's got over 50 pounds of basically tumor-like skin hanging off her now, and they call that elective surgery, like it's an option to have 50 pounds of dead skin hanging off you or not. That to me just blows my mind that they'll help you get, GLP-1 inhibitors and stuff that could cause permanent gastroparesis, and they'll pay for that, but they won't help you when you take your health back. They won't help you kind of finalize it by getting your life back. And so I just want to thank you guys so much. You've all have came through so incredibly. We are 74% to the goal, and so you guys are incredible.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been amazing support. The community's been behind me all the way. I'm so grateful to have you all.
Nobody deserves it more than Lindy, so we appreciate you guys so much. LaDonna, I hope my vision gets better. Well, you've seen my email from my optometrist. My vision is cleared up 3 full points of stigmatism in both eyes, and it's insane how much better your vision gets. All right, let's go on. Question. Good luck, Lindy. Your surgeries on your surgery soon. Are you going to be able to keep us updated on your progress?
Yeah, absolutely. I will be taking before and after photos, and I'm nervous to share them, but it needs to be done. I will after surgery when I'm back on my feet. So definitely will be keeping in touch and showing everyone my progress.
Right. Let's see. All right, we're going to move on. I'm just going through these real quick. All right. Let's see. I've done a mouth taping many times with paper non-woven medical tape. How does that work, Benjamin? Is that a prescribed method that you approve of, or
I've done method with paper non-woven. I'm not sure what she means by that.
She does the mouth taping,
Yeah.
So
with just like a Band-Aid, or what is she saying? With paper? I don't understand what that means.
Yeah, I thought some, which is looks like it's on a sticky tape roll, and you just rip it off and put it on. But I don't know. I've got a strong face. I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I was taping it all different ways, and I'd still wake up with a wide open mouth.
As long as you're not using duct tape.
Yeah.
It's just you want to train your mouth to stay shut. And so now I've been doing it for a couple of years now. When I wake up, if my tape comes off, my mouth stays shut because it doesn't feel right having it open. So that's kind of what the main thing is. Just training your mouth to stay shut is the most important thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
3M medical tape works good for mouth taping. Okay, perfect. Right on. Hi, John. Good to see you too, by the way. All right. Question, Lindy, Todd, are you still doing rebounding? Absolutely. I'm doing rebounding. It's the best thing for moving that lymphatic fluid for me, getting the calves, the calves are like the pump for the lymphatic system, and there's no substitution for that. And the rebounding is definitely, out of all the things that I'm doing working out right now, rebounding is still the one that kicks my butt the most, which I can't hardly even believe it.
It's hard.
It's crazy. It's so
crazy hard. I work out with a trainer 3 times a week. And and when it comes into doing a little calisthenics on a rebounder, 5 minutes of jumping jacks.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Yeah, my calves.
3 minutes of jumping jacks on a rebounder is brutal.
For sure. Yeah, I just sit there and do the calf raises, and I do them 100 at a time, and I've been getting 12 to 1500 of them in per session. and I can't hardly walk. I look like a newborn baby deer when I get done with that thing.
You do get the jelly legs, yeah.
It's like, whew, it's crazy.
It's good fun though. You feel good afterwards. I do it before bed, and when I wake up in the morning, it wakes me up, and then I just do a gentle one at night, and it just, I don't know, I warm up and I sleep like a baby. So yeah.
It does. And if you feel so, I like it in the morning because I take my iodine in the morning. I get my sprints in, I do the rebounding, and I do the shake plate. And by the time I'm done with that, I mean, it's better than coffee was back in the old days. I mean, you are wide awake, full of energy, got the blood flowing. You just feel just lighter. You get so much fluid off you and inflammation right away in the morning. It's just great how good you feel. Question, Todd, what kind of breathing did you say you do? Oh, Wim Hof breathing. So WIM, one word, HOFF. I don't know. What do they call that? Box breathing? Is that what that's called?
Is that where you breathe? So from what I understand, Wim Hof, is that where you do 30 seconds of like,
yeah. Well, no, it's not. It's not hyper. It's, you take it in as fast as you can, but all the way deep, and then you blow it out all the way deep as fast as you can, and you kind of do it in a rhythm. But what was crazy is, when I started this, I was on 6 liters of home oxygen. I was oxygen dependent. My oxygen saturation on 6 liters of oxygen was 88% saturation. I couldn't get over it. And then I started doing carnivore and Wim Hof breathing. I couldn't hold my breath for 15 seconds, and I felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest, and I was having like an asthma attack. So the idea of holding my breath for 30 seconds was insane to me. But I started doing that, and then I got off the oxygen, I got off the CPAP machine, and now my oxygen saturation is 96%, and I can hold my breath for 2.5 minutes now. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. It's nuts how much that did for me. And it did it in 6 months, not 2 years. When the first 6 months I was off of oxygen. It's crazy. It's a miracle, really.
Yeah. It feels so good as well. You get sort of pins and needles in all your arms and legs, and when I do it, I don't think my circulation is very good. So the breathing does really help with that.
It does, and it opens up your diaphragm, which opens up your lymphatic system in your waist, and so it starts to really move, and also up in your what do you call them, thoracic ducts? Really moves that around. And so I do that first in the morning, then get on the shake plate to open everything up. First 10 minutes on my legs, and then 5 minutes on my arms, and it opens up the thoracic ducts even more. Then you get on the rebounder, and that really opens up the lymphatic system, and you want to get some lymphatic fluid moving, and that's the way to do it for me, for sure.
Let me say something really quick there, if I could, Todd. What's so important about the Wim Hof breathing is that it creates a acute stress as opposed to chronic stress. And acute stress, so when you're normally, you want to keep your mouth shut as much as possible, but doing the Wim Hof, it creates acute stress, and that actually increases human growth hormone and all these different other things. But it's the acute stress that's beneficial. That's why you were talking about sprinting. Sprinting is fantastic because that acute stress, like I said, causes hormesis for the body to adapt and get stronger. It's the chronic stress. So for people listening, that's the bad thing. That's why aerobics, long distance running, long distance runners have heart attacks. Because we're not designed to run 26 miles for the hell of it. It's just no, we're not.
I've long said if you see me running more than 100 yards, you better pick up the pace because that means the bear's chasing me. For sure.
That's great.
Let's see here. All right, I got another question for you. Let's see. In chapter 2 of your book, you were talking about chapter 3 of your book, you're talking about understanding ourselves as mini cities. Yeah. Would you like to give us a little hint about how that can help us make smarter health decisions?
Absolutely. So in my book, there's a picture, the cell picture, you might be referring to that. Mm-hmm. And what I realized is that the cell is like a miniature factory or a city, or whatever you want to call it. And there was a quote I have in the very beginning of that chapter that the cell is more complex. I think that's more complex than New York City, which is fascinating. And so what does it mean by that? So I thought when I was writing my book, how do I put those things together for people to understand? So I thought, okay, well, the mitochondria is what's called the powerhouse of the cell. So if that's the powerhouse of the cell, maybe it could be the power poles, the power lines, because that's producing power for the city. Oh yeah, go to the other one though, Todd, because that's the key. But if you go to the actual picture, the next one, they can see the actual picture of the city. So and the power lines are the mitochondria. The nucleus would be City Hall, let's say. The endoplasmic reticulum, where people know what that is, that's kind of where the proteins are made. Well, that might be the factory. So I kind of like just thought, hey, maybe these would go here, this would go there, and then the cell wall or the cell membrane would be the kind of the wall around the city or the police force. And so that's kind of how I did it for kids to understand. And then so we have the city that's kind of running good and intact, and then we have the other picture of the city that's kind of falling apart. And that's what's happening to your cells when you cause problems and inflammation. The power poles fall down. The factory starts smoking, which is basically analogous to reactive oxygen species. People listening might know what that is. It's free radicals. That's kind of like smoke. The cells or these endoplasmic reticulum and the mitochondria are billowing kind of smoke, or they're short circuiting, let's say. It's kind of hard for them to see, but yeah. So the top one is the good city, where it's all intact, and underneath is where it's kind of falling apart. And see all the smoke. So that's kind of, I did to make it for kids so they could really understand how this stuff works. Because kids are visual learners. Some kids are visual learners. Sure. They go, wow. So mom, if I stop eating as much sugar, then my cell will look, or my city will look like the one on top. Yeah. When you start getting, So that's kind of how I did it.
For sure. And I'm just kind of going down by a chapter of your book here too, and I know we've covered this a little bit, but do you want to give kind of an overview on why nose breathing is so important compared to mouth breathing and how people can make the switch?
Yeah, well, because like I said earlier, it prevents, mouth breathing contributes to all inflammation. And so, it's, just think of it as if you're eating sugar or you're eating processed food, and they've talked, it's been talked about to ad nauseum that sugar and processed food and seed oils contribute to inflammation. That's not, mystery. Well, just think, so mouth breathing does the same thing. What's happening is the body requires carbon dioxide and oxygen, obviously, right? When you mouth breathe, so what people don't understand is that the body needs a certain amount of carbon dioxide built up in the blood, in the cells, the blood vessels, to be able to release the oxygen from the red blood cells. So like I write in my book, the reason when people are hyperventilating, they tell them to breathe into a paper bag is because they're getting their the carbon dioxide back into their lungs to release the oxygen from the red blood cells, because it's like a bus, they compete for each other. So when you're mouth breathing, you're releasing too much carbon dioxide, and then the oxygen stays stuck on the red blood cells and doesn't get delivered to the tissues where it's needed. That's one of the major problems. And the cells only require oxygen, nutrients, minerals, sunlight, water. Only a few things. And oxygen is real important. If they're not getting them, then what happens? They become hypoxic. And then that causes or contributes to inflammation. The body's always trying to self-regulate itself. So something happens, a signal's turned on in the cell, or an enzyme's turned on to do this, to do that. But all this stuff is happening all day, instantaneously, all the time. Does that make sense for people, you think, or was that?
Oh, no, definitely. No, okay. It definitely makes perfect sense. And it's so funny, right? Because my oxygen always been in the, sub 90% since I was just a teenager, and I had hell getting it up there, which is why it's so crazy that when I started doing Wim Hof breathing and I started doing nose breathing, it literally cleared up everything overnight. And I'd spent almost 2 decades on Advair and steroid inhalers and nebulizers, because God knows we have an Advair, deficiency in our in our population. It's like it's absolutely incredible when we start. Part of the things about carnivore and about these medical truths that we talk about that people have a hard time believing is they have a hard time believing that it can be that simple or that it can be that effective, because we're just lied to believe that we need some magic pill and some intervention. And it's just we've really screwed up our nature so much in our natural habitat that it's just pretty crazy what just going back to nature can do. It's absolutely incredible. Let's see here. That's the nose ring. So chapter 5, what are the top 3 changes people can make today to improve their sleep and start healing?
So the top 5 changes I can make is, show my model, because that's really, it's the things we just discussed, getting the morning sun, getting the evening sun to start the melatonin. Melatonin is obviously crucial. But I don't believe taking external melatonin is your answer, because it's interrupting the balance in the body. So I personally don't believe that's the right thing to do. But melatonin's made from not just when you're at nighttime, that's when it's kind of released. It's made in the daytime from sunlight. It's made from exercise. It's made from nose breathing. Now, there's no studies on that, let's say, but I theorize, because my model, is pretty much correct, I believe, that most likely it's created from all these things. So they want to plus limit the sugar or stop sugar altogether. I know that's hard. The seed oils are horribly bad, as you know. The processed food, stress. So if they do all these things, their sleep will get way better. Block out the light in your house so you're not, there's not a bunch of lights on. Oh, these things I'm wearing right here. What to mention that? Yeah, these are critical at night. Why is that? Because you do not want the blue light in your eyes at night from the iridescent, from your LEDs. That is causing inflammation. And if it's causing inflammation, it's causing stress. It's going to make it more difficult to fall asleep, blah, blah, blah. So these are really important to, you need to block the blue light at night at all costs.
100%.
Yeah.
These are about 50%. These are prescription, but these are 50% blue light blocking glasses. And it has made an incredible difference in kind of my
difference, huh? Yeah.
Oh, well, like stamina, right? I spent a lot of time working on the computer, and I would get eye strain, and my eyes would get so tired so early in the day. That's completely gone, and then I have a heck of a lot easier time winding down at night and getting into a REM sleep quicker. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and these are Viva Rays.
Are those the same ones that Bella has?
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, they look it. Yeah,
they're Viva Rays. Yeah, they're Viva Rays.
That's awesome.
The reason I had some cheap ones that were I don't know, I got them at Walmart or something, and they didn't do anything, because I knew if I looked up and if things didn't look orange all around me, the sky, it probably wasn't working. So I know these are a top notch for sure, and they're Viva Rays. Get them Viva Rays.
That's awesome. Let's see. You mentioned the structured water. What's for somebody new to the structured water talk? What's the simplest way to start drinking structured water for better health?
So, like I write in my book, water is a living thing. Water is where everything comes from. Where all information is stored in water. Just respect it. I think that's one of the biggest things I people need to know is the respect of water. Ancient people, they respected water. They blessed water. And when I was writing my book, I thought, why are the ancients blessing water? Why are they doing all these things? Maybe because they think water is important, And so talking to water, and people might think this is crazy, but there's been experiments done on this. Dr. Emoto, he said, he talked to water, they froze it. He said, I love you, water. All the crystals were beautifully shaped. All the patterns were beautiful. I hate you, water. And they were all misshapen. Now, yeah, but there's something even more incredible than that, though, Todd, is that so people think, well, that guy was, he did one experiment. Well, no, this is real. It's really happening. There's a lady called Veda Austin. And for listeners, look her up, because you will change your thoughts on water instantly. So what she's done is kind of the same thing he's done. And she would freeze water and talk to it and show it pictures and do different things. And what it was remarkable, she's done thousands of these things. And so she played Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin and had some water next to her, right? She froze it, put it in the freezer, took it out. Guess what was in the water? Just take a guess. What do you think could possibly be in the water?
I have no clue.
Lindy, Michael, say something. Come on. Nothing?
I've got a little fish sitting in my... Speaking of fish.
No. A ladder.
Sorry.
A stairway. A stairway was in the water. A stairway was in the water. She asked her cat, now this is going to blow your mind. She asked her cat if it wanted to go in or out.
Wow. She
froze the water. And when she told me this, because I met her at a conference, and I was like, that's it. I'm blown. I can't believe this. She froze the water. In the water, there was a message in the word "in." The cat was talking to her through the water.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So back to structured water. Structured water, or water holds all information. So blessing your water, thanking it, putting minerals in it. So what structures water? Vortexing it structures it. Spinning it, right? That structures it. That's why the water goes like this in lakes or rivers. It's structuring. Oxygen structures it. Minerals, the electromagnetic fields of the earth structure it. All these things structure the water. And there's also units you can buy to structure water. There's one I have on my website. But they're called as MEA device. It's called an MEA device. And this gentleman has done 30 years experiments on this stuff. And what it does, do you want me to show you this thing?
Sure.
Let me grab it really quick. Hold on 1 second. People can see it. All right. All right, hold on a second. Put my earphones back on here.
No worries.
Okay, so what's going on here? This is, they can see this. So this is the device. It's called MEA. And they can get it at Ultimate Health Model. I know you don't sell stuff, but these things are super important for people's health.
Yeah.
UltimateHealthModel.com, and you go to the recommendations page, and they get a discount. It says MEA. So there's water on the bottom. This thing in the middle is the vortexing unit. So what this gentleman, Robert Glay, has done is it's going to spin it, but there's minerals in here and there's magnets in here. So it's going to replicate, try to replicate nature, basically. And so we spin it, so you get these devices. Now this is a portable device. You can get one for your house too, that structures all the water in your house. And my mom has one, and she's like, all the calcium came off the wall or the shower. It was like, it's a miracle, she says, what it can do. Now watch. You spin it over, you turn around, it starts spinning into a vortex. You see how it spins it? Can they see that?
Yeah.
I could have a lot of fun with that.
See how it's doing that, though? That's structuring it. And what's really cool about what this gentleman has done is there's a lot of structured devices on the market and he was asked by scientists if he could structure water permanently, and they gave him not a quiz. They gave him a test and said, okay, he said, okay, I'm up for that test, and he was able to prove it where he structured water permanently. And a lot of people on the market have new devices, but does not structure the water permanently. And so he's done many experiments where he's proven the water has stayed structured permanently. And what structured water can do is just remarkable. First of all, you drink this, it's less energy for the body to structure the water, like we talked about earlier in the conversation, right? If you're drinking structured water, how much energy does that free up for your body to do other things? Not to mention, structured water can take and dissolve or detoxify things in the body, in the cells, because it breaks them up into their elemental forms, right? So, and there's people out there that say, no, that's not true. Well, there are people out there that say it is true. So there's differing opinions. I'm on the belief that it is true, because that's what, structured water can pretty much do everything. So that's how that works. And people, when they start drinking that water, it's a game changer. I go to the mountains and bottle my own water, just because that's how important I think water is. So, and I also structure it. But if you can't get to bottling your own water, doing this is the second best thing. And you put like lemon in there and some minerals like sea salt or Himalayan salt, because water structures around minerals too. That's how water structures. It structures around minerals, like a snowflake. A snowflake structures around a piece of dust, which is a mineral, and then it creates all these beautiful, intricate patterns. So that's how water structures around minerals. Does that make sense?
For sure.
So just quickly, how many times do you have to flip it for it to be structured? Like, just like 2 or 3 times?
Yeah. They say 3 times. It depends on the quality of the water, probably. If the water is really good quality, then maybe once or twice, but 3 times should be sufficient. And you'll notice an incredible difference, Lindy, when you taste it. You'll be like, this tastes like water that came out of a spring in my backyard. You're not going to believe how it changes the water taste. It's like, when I first started doing it, I was like, how in the heck could this little thing make this water taste like so crisp and sweet? It's also because, like remember I write in the book, Todd, it's the energetics of the water. So just because there's no minerals actually in this thing, the minerals are like around inside, like attached to it. The minerals aren't going into the water. It's the energies of the minerals going into the water. And that actually changes the flavor too, because it's the energetics of the minerals. It's not the minerals themselves. The minerals themselves are okay too, but as long as the energetics of the minerals are in there, that's all you need.
That's awesome. All right, let's answer some more. We got some more starred questions here. Here's one for Lindy. You're such an amazing lady, Lindy. Thank you for all you do to help encourage us.
Oh, thanks, Beck. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. And then Stephanie is asking, is the lymphatic vibration plate alone okay? What do you think, Lindy?
Oh, I used mine for like 3 years, just had that, and it was amazing. So yeah, for sure. But I broke it. 3 years using it on constantly all the time, I broke it. And then I thought I want to sort of upgrade, and I bought the rebounder, but then I went and bought another vibration plate because I missed it. So you can definitely just use that. But if you want to up your game, if you're feeling better, the rebounder was just something that I could do a little bit extra because I wanted a little bit more movement. And now I've got the treadmill. As you notice, the bed's gone, and now I'm sort of wanting to start walking. So adding a bit more movement as I, progress with my journey. So that the better you feel, the more weight you lose, the more movement you want to do. It just happens naturally. Because me and exercise, I've never liked it, but I actually want to move now. So yeah, it just depends where you are in your journey. And I've gone from being on the couch doing nothing to the vibration plate, then rebounder, and now I use all 3. I love them all.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree. I think the vibration plate on its own definitely helps, but I think the rebounder, your calves really are the pump for your lymphatic system. So even a little bit goes a long way, especially, if you're having a hard time mobilizing fat or in being fat adapt, it really helps to mobilize the lymphatic system to become more fat adapt and start moving body fat. It really helps quite a lot. So definitely give that a try. Question. I'm sad that I can't stop eating the wrong thing because it's all around me. 6 family members that eat everything. In my mind, I know it's wrong, but I still eat it. I live in a candy shop. That is tough for sure, but your greatest tool against that, your greatest, in my opinion, your greatest, protection against that is to eat carnivore foods and stay full. That gives you power over the temptations, and then pretty soon you'll get over the hard part of the chemical and mental addiction to the sugar, and then you can start kind of breaking free from that, right? But for a while there, it's just a fight, and you have to really fight hard to, when you're feeling weak or whatever, go eat a piece of meat, eat some eggs and bacon, whatever it takes to stuff yourself and hit those stretch markers on your stomach so it shuts off the hunger, and you don't have much of an appetite after that. It'll let you fight another day. What do you think, Lindy?
Yeah, and you have to think about why are you doing carnivore? I'm doing carnivore because this is what gives me that off switch. It turns off that off switch. I stop eating. When I'm hungry, I eat the meat. I'm fully satiated. Then the cravings stop. And then you could put a packet of chocolate Tim Tams in front of me, and I'm just not interested. My family, they love their sweets. My husband, he loves his Chinese food and all that kind of stuff. And if I eat that stuff, it's going to set me off, and I will spiral back to an 800-pound woman, and I don't want to go there. So my reason for doing carnivore is because I can't moderate. I can't control it. Carnivore is the only thing that gives me that off switch that can keep me on track. I mean, 3 years, and I failed every diet. I failed lap band surgery, got to 800 pounds with all of that. Carnivore, I'm losing the weight. I'm feeling fantastic. Why would I want to go back to that? So I have to remember, this is my journey. I'm not eating those foods for a reason. I can't moderate it. And if you just sort of embrace that, and, I'm hoping the family will eventually come to the dark side and become carnivore. I've planted the seed. They're seeing what I'm doing and they're asking questions, but this is my journey, and I think you just have to remember it. It's your journey. You've chosen carnivore for a reason, whether it be for healing, to lose weight, whatever that reason is. Hold on to that reason, and just try and push through it. And if they're eating, you eat too, but eat your meat. Don't restrict. Just eat. Grab your eggs, grab your jerky, grab steak, bites, whatever. Cold hamburgers from the fridge. Just have your fridge stocked full of things that you can grab easily, and not be tempted to eat the sugars and the seed oils and things like that. Hope that helps.
Can I say something, Todd, really quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for the person that said the question there, it's horribly hard. It took me, from going from regular standard diet in America here to carnivore. First I went low carb, then I went keto, then I'm mostly carnivore. It's hard, but being sick is harder. And when I went to the dentist, when I was eating carbs, and my gums, I'm 55, and they said, okay, they talk about pockets on your gums, the numbers, and they're like, yeah, 5 and 4.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Who said that?
You're good, Todd.
Sorry, that was me. I was having audio trouble there.
Oh yeah, no, we can hear you. So, and they said, that you have all these, your gums are receding, and I said, oh, that's normal. You're 50. All adults have that, and but you have to get a deep cleaning, and but if it goes too far, your teeth will fall out and blah. I'm like, I don't want my teeth falling out. I don't want cavities. And for this person with a question, understand that your gum health and your teeth health are a mirror of your body health. So whatever's happening in your gums are inflamed, your gums are sore, that's definitely a reflection of what's going on inside too. So really think about, your family. Say, do you want to lose your teeth? Do you want to have a heart attack? I'm not saying you're gonna have a heart attack because you have, gum disease, but it's all related. So what's more important, cookies or being around for your family?
Absolutely. That's that's a very good point. And that was one of the things that changed my mind when I was watching videos by Robert Lustig and Gary Taub.
Mm-hmm.
And that started opening up my view on that, we've been lied to, and that this is an environmental problem. Like our food environment has been screwed up. That's how the only way that you can affect 74% of the population to all become sick at the same time is if you screw up the environment in which they live in, and that basically our food environment's been attacked. And then that opened, that started me thinking, why, what's the advantage to that? And the advantage is to make a lot of money off of it, they get you addicted to food as a drug, then they sell you drugs to basically manage symptoms. And in the whole, in my personal opinion, during that whole process, they're wearing you down so that you're not formidable, right? Like you're more controllable, right? You're not a threat to control. That's what I really think the whole purpose was. And when I started seeing it that way, then I started seeing sugar and the foods as real dangerous drugs that were stealing, that were responsible for my brother and my dad dying, and for pain and suffering, and for why my mom has Parkinson's, and why my brother has MS, and why I was 600 pounds when I was 14 years old. And when I put that in my perspective that way, it's really easy not to have sugar anymore, because it's not some cute ritual that some people get away with, and I should feel sorry for myself because I don't get away with it like other people do. Nobody gets away with it. It's a drug. It's killing us all. And we shouldn't fund the terrorists. We shouldn't fund the war on ourselves. We should, once and you can see that, it definitely should, you should kind of have a fight up, rising up in you that goes, I'm not going to play this game with this system anymore. Once you can see it, I'm going to start throwing punches back, and start fighting for my family and my friends, and be an example. And maybe I can help show people how to get out of this addiction that they're in, So move on to the next one.
Hi, Kit. Yeah, I can relate on the breathing issue, walking through healing of your trauma memories. Sometimes it's so hard on the body. The body stores trauma, which causes health issues, but releasing it can also be hard. Yeah.
For sure. 100%. Here's another one.
Where do you purchase that device to make structured water?
So you can get on my website, ultimatehealthmodel.com, and you'll see all the recommendations, and you go there. There's also a lot of research articles from the scientists that create it. So you can read. It's fascinating about how this works. And yeah, just go there to ultimatehealthmodel.com and go to the recommendations page and purchase it there.
Lovely. Awesome. Hey. Would a NutriBullet and some mineral drops do something similar?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, that's a great question, and it depends on the minerals you're using, because the minerals that are in this thing are certain minerals. So I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. It might. You talk to the water, talking to the water, putting minerals in it, putting lemon in it, whatever you can do to structure it. Yeah. I've never had that question asked to me, so I don't know, but it could.
Right. You also need the magnets as well.
Good job. Yeah, Michael's smart. Yeah, I forget. I didn't think about. Yeah, you need the no. It's not gonna. We need the magnets. That's what's in here. He's right.
Perfect. Let's see. I've quit the routine. I have quite the routine for water I drink and cook with. In time, I'd love to get something for the whole home. Yeah. Oh, do they make a whole home structure?
Yeah. There's a whole home structuring device that's put in inside at the pipe that goes to the house from the street. And yeah, it's a game changer. I live in an apartment, so I don't have it. I have the pro one, but my father have it. Live in Los Angeles, and first of all, it structures the water in the tap, but it also structures the water in your sink, in your shower. So you're getting that structured water. The water's softer on your skin, on your hair. It removes the chlorine. She said it took all the limestone or the kind of deposits off her shower. She said it cleaned the toilet, like it somehow cleaned all the deposits off the toilet. But what has to happen is it has to, for like 3 months, it has to clear out the pipes because it basically pulls all the stuff off the pipes and brings it into the water. And then basically, so it basically sucking off the pipes of the stuff in your house. Yeah, it's remarkable what it can do.
That's awesome.
I'm fascinated to know whether the water will spin the opposite direction down here in Australia.
You're gonna let me know, Lindy. Yeah, I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm thinking. Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
Watch this space.
Doug says, I bought a vibration plate still in the box, going to put it under my desk, use it while I work, looking for a rebounder. Awesome.
Yeah, I have my vibration plate. I've got two, one under my desk and one near my bed because I use it before and after I hop into my bed and jump out. And this one's under my desk I have all the time. Like I'll be sitting in SBG meetings. I turn off my audio so nobody hears and I turn on the vibration plate. So I'm sitting there having that going. And I've usually got a bird on my knee because he loves it too. So, yeah, it's quite cute.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Carnivore Transformer, we are all motivated by either the carrot or the stick, that's for sure. The carrot is carnivore and the stick is being obese and sick for me. It is now about the carrot steak. My 100-day weight loss is emphasized it. Yep, for 100% sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Carnivore Transformer is killing it right now.
He is.
All right. Let's see. I have a few more questions for you too. So obviously we are a carnivore-based community here and carnivore-based channel. What role do you think carnivore plays in your health, and what diets do you recommend? What's your journey on carnivore as well, and or what's your diet look like, and what percentage would you say diet has in your health versus let's say exercise?
Okay, so my diet consists of eggs, butter, beef, bacon, a little bit of sardines sometimes. I have some avocado because I like avocado. I've always liked avocado. I eat some fermented vegetables because they're easy to digest. So I'll get them from a farmer's market. Just to kind of, to change things up a little bit, but I'll have some fermented vegetables. But it's mostly the meat, the eggs, the cheese. And I eat raw cheese from a local farm that I haven't been to their farm, but it's a farm down the street from my house, like 20 miles. And so that's most of my diet. Yeah. And that's about it. I eat the same thing every day. I'm not interested in cooking tacos and spaghetti like people do. It's like I feel kind of awkward, Todd, because everyone's cooking all these things, right? We're cooking lasagna and tacos and burritos and Chinese. I eat beef. And I eat some avocado. I'm like, oh, okay. It's simple. It's simple. Sure. And so what do I think about vegetables? Well, I think they're a fallback food. What do I mean by that? I think that we ate it when there's nothing else to eat, our ancestors. It makes the most sense to me. And for people listening, think about this. I thought about this a lot. Someone eats a hot pepper, let's say, or they cut up an onion. An onion makes you cry. A hot pepper makes you sweat. It makes you tingle. some of the really hot ones, people get numb. I thought to myself, why is that happening? It's because the pepper is not your friend. It's trying to kill you, but it can't because you're too big. So the vegetables were never meant to be eaten. They don't want to be eaten. So they have all these defense chemicals, like Dr. Chafee talks about, Dr. Berry all these people talk about. It makes sense. They don't want to be eaten. And they're so smart that they're a million times smarter than us, basically. And all these defense chemicals are there to harm you. And there's something called lectins. Gluten's a type of lectin. And what happens is the inflammation, when you have inflammation in your gut lining, let's say you have Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, or some kind of IBS, your gut's inflamed. What's happening is those lectins are going through into the bloodstream. And what happens is these lectins attach to cell membrane receptors. And they're so sophisticated that it tells the body that this is foreign. So these lectins basically say, okay, I'm gonna make this cell foreign. Then the immune system starts attacking it. So one of the reasons of autoimmune disease is because of these lectins. They attach to these receptors and make the body think that these cells are foreign. I thought, wow, vegetables are pretty smart to be able to do that.
Right.
And so that's another reason not to eat them. I eat a little bit of fruit here and there, maybe a couple of berries, but it's basically the same thing. A vegan diet, I wouldn't suggest it because animal protein is more bioavailable. And there's something called true protein and crude protein, which a lot of people don't know what that is. And a lot of people don't discuss this, but true protein is the actual protein available in food. Crude protein includes nitrogen sources too that aren't part of an amino acid. And so a lot of times when they measure protein content in food, they're using a crude protein measurement. That's not the true protein content of the food. And that's a problem because then you think, oh, soybeans or lentils have 10 grams of protein. Well, the reality is they probably have 3 grams of protein because of that reasoning. Right? And I learned that from Peter Ballersted, who I interviewed for my book, a genius on, he's an ag specialist, but really smart gentleman, fascinating guy, talks about all this kind of stuff.
That's awesome. Let's see here. I'm just going through some questions I wrote down. Let's see. Many people feel stuck when they don't see immediate results when they're making a dietary change. What kind of advice do you have for them on staying motivated and how to keep moving forward and being consistent?
Keep going, just like you've done, just like Michael's done, just like Lindy's done. You just got to keep going. And when something, when you have a setback, just keep going. And like my model shows, you do as many things on the green side as you can, as few things on the red side as you can. One of the red things on the red side is, EMFs and all these electromagnetic frequencies. But in today's modern society, we have no choice. So we have to be exposed to it. So then I do more things on the green side of the model I created. And for people, just keep going. If, do one thing at a time, maybe type your mouth shut, get the structured device, limit your sugar. Don't eat, eat one less cookie the next day. But over time, like all of us have found, the remarkable changes. Like I said, when I got my vision of 2015, that's it. I'm never eating. I'll eat I'm not eating any more processed food ever unless I'm given to an accident. Literally 2015, that was just, how'd that happen? Doctors can't make it 2015. And I'm going to reverse my gum disease. I didn't want to have a deep cleaning. I didn't want to have a root canal. And all these things contribute to other problems down the road. If your gum health is bad, then most likely you probably have some other problems going on too. And so it's just, and I don't want to feel sick. It's just, you just got to keep trying, just like all of us have done.
For sure. That's awesome. And then let's see, Michael, I forgot to ask you earlier, but can we pull up the wheel so that we can get a hashtag going? Can we make the hashtag tasty? So we'll do for the tasty air fryer.
You want me to start getting it now? You want me to start? Okay.
Yeah, that way people can start putting in the hashtag tasty to be in the drawing for the tasty air fryer. So if you don't mind, there we go. So if you guys, all you got to do is go ahead and put hashtag tasty in the chat. That will enter you in there. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel that you're on. If you go to everybody's channel, Lindy, Michael's, or mine, if you do it on each channel, then you'll get extra drawings for each channel that you are subscribed to, and hit the thumbs up. You do have to be subscribed to the channel that you comment on to be entered into the drawing. So yeah, if you do that, we'd appreciate it. So, and you can also go over to Rumble. If you're on Rumble, it works there. It works on X as well. So,
and it's a double E on the end. You need to spell it the way that the others are. Otherwise it doesn't get entered. So try again.
Just like that, how it's showed on the screen.
Yeah,
just like that. All right, we appreciate it so much. And now we have a few star comments we're going to go over. And this is my 7th day carnivore. Would tea being made with tea leaves and strained be considered taking in plant? Yes, for sure.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's there. The antioxidants in tea probably don't outweigh the pro-oxidants in tea. You know, I mean, there's different studies on that, right? Some people say tea is great. Some people, I don't. The tea plant doesn't want to be eaten either. Same reasoning.
Yeah, I have a new found opinion on this as of the last 4 weeks, actually, because I've gone through oxalate dumping. This is my 3rd time, but this by far has been the worst oxalate dump that I've gone through. In fact, it's been kind of miserable. It made both my knees swell up, and to the point where it was really difficult to walk. And I even started bleeding from the navel. Like, nowhere. Like, no joke. This has been the worst oxalate dump. And I started going back. So I tested it to see if it really, like, is something else going on, or is it oxalate dumping? And friend of the show, Melissa, also a friend of SBG, she said if you're having an oxalate dump that bad, to drink a little bit of tea, to have a little bit of oxalates and slow it down. And if it helps relieve the symptoms, then it's definitely oxalate dumping. I did that. It definitely did relieve it. And then I got to thinking, why is this so bad? And one of the things that I did for about 15 years was I drank over a gallon of iced tea a day for about 15 years. And I think that's where most of those oxalates were coming from. And that's most of the symptoms I was having from iced tea oxalates, because I didn't eat all that many vegetables, but I definitely drank a lot of tea. And
for praying Sharia prayers, so the structured water will also help with that, because it can transmute toxins and all kinds of stuff. So,
I'm down.
Yeah, a lot of people go, oh, just drink more. Well, no, you can't. It's not just drinking more water. That's the problem. It's you got to drink structured water. And the other problem is that everything that we're doing in society, from eating sugar to seed oils to processed food to stress, is causing dehydration. So, like, one of my mentors and one of my idols, Dr. Zach Bush, says that I think 75 or 80% of us are chronically dehydrated. And it's not about just drinking water. It's about everything that we're doing is causing dehydration, right? And so, because the body's always trying to manage water. And what do I mean by that? It's always managing water, put it into certain cells and certain organs. So, and if you're dehydrated, it's like, if it doesn't know it's getting more water, it's like, okay, what are we going to do now? This person's not going to give me more water, or it's dehydrating me by the sugar. I'm going to take the water out of my skin cells and put it towards my heart. That's why chronic dehydration causes skin problems too, because it's pulling it out of places that are not critical for survival. And so it's always managing this water, and then the stress causes the inflammation, which causes dehydration. So it's always a circle that we're trying to balance. And so, because a lot of people would, ask me, well, what you're saying drinking more water is going to help with my Crohn's disease? No. all the things on my model are going to help, but it's not about one thing. It's about a lot of things together.
For sure.
I just admit now that I do drink a peppermint tea every night before bed. Just saying.
You're going to lose your carnivore card.
Well,
sorry.
oxalates have to do with the type of tea you're drinking. Black tea is the worst of all teas to drink. That has the highest level of oxalates in it. The best is herbal tea.
Okay.
So,
Well, I've still got in my head that peppermint's good for digestion. And because I have the lap band and I struggle to eat meat sometimes, it's still in my head. My nonna used to do it. She'd have a peppermint tea before bed.
Yep.
And so I continue to do that. And I've still lost my weight and I'm feeling fine. I don't feel so I'm happy with my peppermint tea.
I drink peppermint tea as well.
Lovely. There we go.
Let's put this one up here too. Maybe we can put that in the chat, but what are the other channels? So it's right here. It's the 3 channels are at the Carnivore Cure, at Limitless Lindy, and then Michael didn't put your one on there, but isn't it Mixed Streams?
That's why it's in the naughty corner. But you'll find all our channels linked in the description of the video as well.
Yeah, the video that you're watching there. So that's awesome.
And mine's we're just starting it, but I think it's Ultimate Health Model on YouTube. But our podcast, our podcast is Ultimate Health Model Podcast.
Awesome.
And we
You should have told us we could have streamed on your channel as well.
Well, no, because it's not. I don't know how to do that. I'm like really technical. I don't know anything about this. But no, it's Ultimate Health Model Podcast, and then we're also on Instagram, Ultimate Health Model. But yeah, so we're trying to get
awesome. Yeah, and if you want to put that in the chat too, so that everybody can see it in the chat. I don't know if you can. Yeah, that'd be awesome. If it'll allow you to chat in there. Okay, no worries. We'll put it up for you at the end of this. Let's see. Doug says had heart attacks, yo-yo diets, nothing stuck, starvation, or living in the gym. Found something I feel is sustainable. I'm happy I joined the SBG. That's awesome, Doug. So happy to see you in there. It is sustainable, and let's talk about that. But Benjamin, what do you think? What do you think about the sustainability of carnivore? Because this is one that comes up all the time. My theory on it is that people only feel like it's not sustainable when they're on the standard American diet because they don't realize they are addicts and they are in the middle of a drug addiction. But when you step away from that, you see just how carnivore is actually one of the most sustainable things there is.
Yes, that's exactly put really well. Yeah, it's very sustainable. If you're on the standard American diet, like you're saying, then you are addicted to carbohydrates. And so you're always looking for sugar, right? Because the body can only hold so much glucose or glycogen in your liver and your muscles before it runs out. You get hungry again. Your body's a limitless supply of fat. So even the thinnest person, I think, has 100,000 calories or something on you. So you're never hungry. So someone could, like you said, like Lindy said, someone could put cookies in front of me, or I think Todd said, someone said, put cookies in front of me. I'm not going to eat them because I know what it does to me. Because now that I'm on carnivore, I can feel if I eat sugar, like let's say a cookie or something like that, I actually feel my heart start racing. Like I sense it because I'm so in tune with my body. I know, oh my God, this is really, my body does not want this. I had some crackers at Christmas time, and I only had a couple. I was okay, but if I ate like a half a piece of pie or something, I'd be done. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, like a box of cookies, no chance. And so I don't do it. But yeah, sustainable because you don't want anything else.
For sure.
And you're not always looking for food. You're not hungry. They're not snacking. You're like, you don't need, because you can go a day without eating because your body is fat adapted and it's using the fat on it like we were designed to do to survive and thrive.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Question for Lindy. I also have 2 vibration plates. Messed up order on one one on website, one on Amazon. Forgot I ordered the link sent for a rebounder. Is it bungee cords versus springs?
It's no problem having to just pop one in the bed and use it at night or in the morning. It's good for constipation. It's good for all sorts of things. I love my vibration plate, but my rebounder is a bungee cord because I've seen some of those YouTube videos where you squeak, squeak, squeak. No, I don't want that. And being a larger person, I wanted something that, I did all the research. The bungee seemed to be and one that I have, it's a Jump Sport Pro, is for someone with a heavier weight. So I just felt a bit more secure on that. And do get the handle. I didn't buy the handle. I've now bought one because you need that stability. Yeah. Can do so much more when you've got the handle.
That's awesome. All right. Let's see.
Sorry, I had to plug my computer in.
Oh, no worries. Stephanie, I love my tasty air fryer from y'all. Thanks so much. It was so great meeting Stephanie. I got to see her in Arizona. So congratulations on winning that. I'm so glad our community's loving the giveaways. Most physicians have a minimal nutritional education. That's a fact. I hear like 6 hours. So
it's funny. It's funny that carnivore transmission says that, because that'd be like when I talked about me being an auto detailer for 30 years. That'd be like me not knowing how to wax a car. I mean, It almost sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it does. And you know what's so funny about it too, right? Knowing that they get 6 hours of nutritional training, and then people that are, of course you don't really know, but people come into our chat all the time and they say nonsense like, I'm a, 30-year nurse. I'm this, I'm that.
Okay.
And so they use that as a flex, and then they get mad at you for being Dr. Google because you are Googling nutritional information. And I'm like, well, you only have 6 hours of training. So it's like your 6 hours is special because you got it into an indoctrination school versus using Google. It's like, how about the fact that I've reversed all the crap that your doctor said I was going to have to manage on medication the rest of my life, and it's already in remission or completely gone. Like, explain that to me, genius. It's so funny.
I heard something really interesting too. A doctor, I think it was Dr. Oh God, what's his name? Not Westman. Robert Lufkin. I think he said this, and I've watched some of his videos, and he said that in his training, that the teacher told him, and I'm not positive it was Dr. Lufkin or not, but that 50% of what you learned, you'll find out is wrong. We just don't know what 50% that is. That's pretty interesting.
For sure. 100%. That's what's so crazy. And that fact, that's kind of a good intro into this here. It says, carnivore since March 2024, under 8/hair loss, upped intake, finally eating over 2,000 calories. Hair loss has slowed. Weight loss stopped to going up slightly. Keep increasing food or add fats? Yes, increase food. The 2,000 calories on carnivore is nothing, first of all. Definitely increase food. And there's nothing that's going to hurt you with increasing the fats. But here's the thing. You said your weight's going up a little bit. What weight?
Is it muscle? Yeah. Are you getting muscle? Because muscle weighs more than fat. Or are you? Yeah. So that's a little bit hard to interpret, right?
Yeah, and that's why go find your scale, take it directly to the garbage can where it belongs, and put that thing in there. Because here's the truth of the matter: is carnivore is a nourishing health optimization diet. Like, you are going to gain lean tissue. You are going to get stronger. Your muscles are going to get more dense. Your bones are going to get more dense. You are going to repair tissue, and your body doesn't care what you weigh. like your healthy body doesn't care what your weight is. And then the fat's going to come off. Then you're going to get lean, but your body's going to heal first. And so measurements are worth way more than whatever that scale is telling you. But a fun thing to keep in mind is that if you look up the research, like on a standard American calorie restrictive diet, when you lose weight, you're losing about 30% lean body mass, and you're losing about 60% fat and fluid, right? When you are on those GLP-1s, you're actually losing anywhere from 40 to 60% lean body mass, and you're only losing somewhere between 60 and 30% fat on those. So you can actually get skinny fat on GLP-1s. It's crazy. But on carnivore, it's completely common to gain weight and lose fat because your body is becoming healthy. And so that's why you really got to divorce the scale on carnivore. What do you think, Benjamin?
Yeah, absolutely. And just like you said, Todd, that when you're on a standard American diet, so that's why all these things are so problematic, because you are losing fat or muscle mass on these. It's impossible for you to lose a significant amount of fat mass if you're on a standard American diet and you're on a traditional restrictive diet, right? Like a calorie. It's impossible, because if your body is carb or not fat adapted, and you're running on carbs and sugar, you are gonna lose muscle, not fat, because the body is, if insulin's too high, and I'm sure your listeners know about insulin because you discussed it and they're smart. If insulin is high, you will store fat. And when you're eating a standard American diet, your insulin's always high because you're eating carbs. Insulin's high, you store fat. You cannot burn fat on a regular diet. It's I wouldn't say it's virtually impossible, but it's very difficult. Just like you said, Todd. Yeah.
Very difficult. And 2,000 calories on carnivore is very low calories, by the way. And the reason why is because you're not, protein's not really a fuel. It's a building block, And so you're counting a bunch of that you're eating protein as fuel, and it's not. It's not fuel. So,
that's a good point. That's a great point, Todd.
Yeah. So 2,500, first of all, calories don't matter in my opinion at all. They just don't. Your body.
That Barquet says that calories are a useless measurement because, first of all, how much inflammation do you have in your body? How is the body using the protein? Is it using it for fuel or for muscle building? So calorie counting, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. You can't count calories because nobody knows from second to second how much inflammation you have in your body. Nobody. Sure. There's no measurement for that. So calories are useless. And a calorie of chocolate bar, 100 calories of chocolate bar, like I write in my book, is not the same as 100 calories of meat. I mean, an alien could come down from another planet and understand that point.
For sure. Well, not to mention, think about the thermodynamic, calorie in, calorie out thermodynamic hypothesis. You know what's so retarded about that is that the fact is that you have a metabolism that can control and adjust how much efficiency you have with that calorie burn, right? So it's like if you can lower your metabolism and store fat and shut down, shut down a certain amount of metabolism and burn, if that can fluctuate on what your maintenance calories, let's say, like they say, can be. I mean, if you have a high functioning metabolism, your maintenance calories might be 3,500 calories. If you have a low functioning metabolism because you've undereaten for so long, that it might be 1,200 calories. So if you can adjust that, which is why I love the priming protocol that SBG teaches, because I've literally watched myself heal my body through eating tons of meat and watch my metabolism go through the roof and watch my metabolism eat through the body fat. I mean, that's why, that's how Lindy lost 500 pounds. That's how I've lost 300 pounds. When you have a high functioning metabolism, you've healed that. It'll eat through the body fat, but you have to allow your body to heal first. A healed body will go ahead and become lean. But
well, it's interesting you say that, because for the people listening, the more muscle you have, the more mitochondria you have. And the more mitochondria you have, the higher metabolism, because the mitochondria are what produce the energy. So, and not to mention, that's what stores, that's what makes structured water too.
Yeah.
So the more mitochondria you have, the mitochondria actually make structured water. So the byproduct of eating food, whether it's carbs or fats, is carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. But that water is structured water. So get this. So, and I don't think fitness trainers even know this. The more muscle you have, the more mitochondria you have, which is raise your metabolism, like you're saying, but you produce more structured water. And the more structured water you have, the more information you can store, the longer you're most likely going to live. So that's another reason that muscle is so important that no one really discusses.
For sure. I'm going to fast forward to this question now because it's on the same topic. So Ladybug says, is it possible to overeat cheese? If so, would that mean calorie count? So this is a great point right here. So a lot of carnivores, including myself, stay away from cheese unless you need it to open up your appetite because you're chronically undereating. But once your appetite is there. But the biggest thing that cheese does two things for me. And this, I'm talking about pasteurized cheese, not raw cheese. Raw cheese is a different animal altogether. But what you're likely talking about is cheese, and cheese has casomorphine in it, and it also has casein in it. Casomorphine is very addictive. It really opens up your diet. And these cheeses are built for, like Charlie and SBG always says, for taking little steers and turn them into 400-pound calves, or little calves turn them into 400-pound steers. Like, they open up your diet, number one. And so what I've noticed for me is it makes me eat more, and it plays with my signaling, my hunger signaling, right? And so I can't trust my true hunger cues, which is the same reason that we're not a big fan of like caffeines and coffees and those type of things, because it also screws up your hunger cues. And this is why it's not that eating doesn't matter at all, like the volume that you're eating. It's not like it doesn't matter at all. The reason why we don't concentrate on volume is because if you're eating the right things and you hormonally get balanced and your body gets healthy, your signaling cues will come back. Once your gut microbiome's healed, your signaling cues will come back, and then your body will self-regulate, and you won't have to sit here and be this, master chemist to figure out how to keep your body from being one thing or another. You just listen to your body and it'll regulate it on its own. So for that reason, I have trouble with cheese because it screws up my signaling, and I can't hear the correct responses from my body. When I don't have that, then I can hear it clearly, and my body does a lot better on its own hunger cues. Also, it makes me a little bit inflamed, and I hold fluid when I have cheese, but that's because it's pasteurized. How about you guys?
Yeah, me too. Cheese calls me from the fridge, come and eat me, and I can't do anything until that cheese is gone. So I can't moderate. So stay away from it. The meat gives me that off switch that I was talking about. Cheese, I'd have no off switch. You might as well put some chocolate biscuits in front of me. It's all gone.
Cheese, you always want a little bit more of it.
I love cheese. It doesn't love me. I get inflammation from it too. My legs swell up, and I just can't stop eating it, so I don't buy it.
And I have to fully admit, and maybe Benjamin has better information on this. I have not dived into the raw cheese game yet. So
yeah, absolutely. So let me say something really, really amazing about cheese and dairy in general. Now, this is probably raw cheeses and raw dairy, but there's something. It's some of the latest research that's been out there. Something called the C15 fats. Have you heard of those?
I've heard of it, but I haven't delved into it.
Yeah. So what does that mean? They're talking about being an essential fats that they're talking about. It's extending life, and it's some miracle saturated fat that they just discovered. And what it does is it becomes part of the cell membrane. So these saturated fats, especially C15, what it does is so the cell membrane has the receptors on it, and these receptors are like insulin receptors, vitamin D receptors, all these different kind of receptors. There's thousands of them. And what the C15 does is it's part of the membrane, but it's part of the structure of these things called lipid rafts that these receptors sit on. So what do I mean by that? So if you think of the receptors as like satellite dishes, cholesterol would be like a pole holding up the satellite dish. and then the C15 fats would be like the platform that the satellite just is sitting on, right? So it's structurally part of these things called lipid rafts that hold all these receptors in these different sections on the cell membrane. And so, most of the C15 is found in dairy. I think some's found in flax seeds or vegetable or something, but that's why dairy is actually, because I disagree with some of the doctors on that. I think it is very important. Now, I don't know if pasteurized dairy has that C15. It might not, Todd. I don't know, but the raw pretty much does, and it's really, really important for the cell membrane integrity for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to play with it a little bit more. I just haven't delved into it. I just kind of abstained from it when I saw that it was making me inflamed, and
try raw. Where do you live?
I'm in Montana.
Yeah, Montana, all that beautiful cows and buffalo.
Yeah,
they have raw cheeses, I'm sure, right? The farmers market.
Yeah,
yeah,
they do. Yeah,
try and see what happens, and let me know. Try it because I want to see if you feel better.
Yeah, I just had so I went down and visited Bella and Max when I went to the Arizona meetup. I stopped by Vegas and visited them, and Bella gave me some raw kefir. It was super tasty because my favorite dairy is sour cream, and it tasted just like sour cream. I'm like, I could eat the heck out of that.
And did you feel better eating the raw kefir?
I only had a little bit. I only had like 3 or 4 ounces of it. So I couldn't tell you. It was just a taste test, but I was like, I could get used to that. But what's funny is, right, that's the hack, right, is it says that it's for dogs, because the
that's how you can get it with the raw.
Yeah, for your pets, so but anyhow, it's pretty funny because there's some places that regulate it, so you got to get it you got to get the pet raw dairy, because then they can sell
stuff, right? Yep.
Same stuff. It's just a gimmick, but or get workaround or whatever. But anyhow, it's so funny that we live in a country where you can ingest Gila monster venom to paralyze your stomach, but you can't have raw dairy. It's like,
do people, and I know what you're talking about, do people know? They don't know what that is, do they? I don't think they do.
No, I've actually had people argue with me, and they said, look, if you had collagen peptides, then it's the same difference because the GLP-1s are just a peptide. I'm like, so is rattlesnake venom. Like, literally, like, what are you talking about? Of course, like, look at the pushback on I'm not going to say the word, but the jabs, right? Those are also about reactive proteins and, peptides and stuff. And it's just like, most poisons are just protein peptides of a certain different string, right? And they're poisons. They'll kill you. So it's like, literally, the Gila monster venom causes paralysis, and they're using it to cause gut paralysis, so that you're just basically passing food through you. It's crazy. So
and about that too is that the body's having stuff fermenting in the stomach for, instead of a couple hours or whatever it is, whatever food you're eating, for like 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The body's designed to have something, a valve after the stomach, open up and let the food in. Yeah. But it can't do that because it's fermenting in there. And not to mention, these people on these drugs are probably have low stomach acidity. So it's basically sitting in this vat of a little bit of stomach acid fermenting, causing gas and bloating. It's got to be a horrible feeling. I mean, it's not meant to sit there that long. So
and I have a couple of people that I know that have gastroparesis, and they are some of the sickest people I know. Like as far as being in pain, being miserable, being nauseous, being sick. It seems like one of the worst things to happen. And apparently that can become a very real, very permanent thing on those drugs. Like that's a side effect of it, that you will have permanent, that you can get permanent gut paralysis from it. And I'm just like, man, that would be so miserable, because I just haven't, I have not seen any of this. To me, it's another magic pill. It's the epitome of a magic pill. And all of these things, from Lindy to my mom to my sister, who all went through the bariatric surgeries, those were not the magic pill that they said they were. They had side effects when it was said and done. And so I just can't imagine this doesn't have grave results, especially seeing as how the country of origin of Ozempic, they don't even sell it in that country. They can't. It's not even legal to sell it there. So to me, it seems crazy. I probably just got a hard strike because I said the O word. I've already gotten a hard strike on YouTube once for.
They're writing your email right now.
They are. Watch our live stream get shut down because hopefully, I don't know. We might have to go to Facebook because Zuck says he's not going to fact check anymore or whatever. Yeah. So we'll see. None of my family or doctors want me being carnivore. I decided I'm going to show them. Absolutely, Doug. Welcome to the resistance. Let's say. It's so funny for anybody who haven't heard me say this. When I went to the hospital for 11 days to get fluid pumped off me because my heart stopped pumping worth a dang, and so I gained 84 pounds of fluid after COVID in 3 weeks because my heart wasn't pumping hard enough to get the fluid off me. And I went in and I had a bunch of fluid pumped off me with those Lasix IVs. And it pushed a bunch of fluid out of me. And then they sent all these specialists in that told me I had congestive heart failure and told me that my lungs were never going to function again. That told me I had to be on oxygen forever. They gave me a plethora of new medications and all that crap. And I'm not advocating for this, by the way. I'm just telling you what I did. And when I went home, I threw all those away. I never took any of their stupid drugs, and I never went to any of their stupid appointments. I just started carnivore. But 6 months later, I was off all those things, including oxygen, and I was a new human being. I was 200 pounds lighter, and it was time for my cardiologist's Zoom call with my cardiologist, and I thought that dude was going to ask me what I did and give me a high five, and we were going to have a big kumbaya moment. And that was the first time that dumb son of a bitch told me that he was worried about my diet. So that was all he had to say, was he was worried about my diet. And I told him that I was worried about his brain, and I thought he needed medical help because his brain he might be having a seizure or stroke. Because he never, when I was 715 pounds, he never mentioned my diet. He never said, what can we do about your diet? He just told me the drugs I had to take and the specialists I had to see and the oxygen I had to be on. Never said a word about my diet. When I come back off all my medication, with all my numbers up, my oxygen up to 96% saturation from 88% with no, not oxygen dependent anymore, completely off the oxygen. My resting heart rate went from 107 beats a minute to 68 beats a minute. My color was back. I was down 200 pounds. I could walk, I could move, I could breathe. My cognitive function was back. All of these things, and I was on no medications. That was the first time he mentioned my diet. So for whatever that's worth for you, I'm not impressed with my doctor's opinion. It's not what it's not the flex my doctor thought it would be, I guess. So, any of you get B12 of 2,000 milligrams? I'm guessing a day. I don't know. I get B12 through the meat that I eat. I'm pretty certain. I don't know how much.
I don't supplement, but my last blood test, my B12 levels were fine, so I'm not concerned at all. Did you have something to say, Benjamin?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. Anything that's not a natural product, and all these supplements, people take calcium supplements, magnesium supplements. The problem is a lot of them are in the wrong form. So something like, you get something on the shelf, a calcium supplement, especially, people think, I got to take a calcium supplement for my bones. Well, it's calcium carbonate, and calcium carbonate is basically rocks, ground up rocks, and your body can't absorb them. So that's just one example. And also, not to mention the fact that calcium, people think about calcium for their bones. They don't think about protein for their bones. And so an analogy that I heard was really interesting. Imagine a bookshelf. The books are calcium, and the bookshelf is protein. So you can put all the books you want. If you don't have a bookshelf or a structure of the bookshelf, where do you put the books?
Right.
And so all these things are not good. What I do recommend, and that's on my website too, is something called folic and humic acid. Now, what is that? That is basically the soil has microbes in it. not to get too technical. And what they do is they take the minerals out of the soil and put it into the plant. So these microbes basically are like little buses or cars. They're delivering the minerals, because the minerals can't just suck, or the plants can't just suck the minerals out of the soil. These microbes basically chelate these minerals and put it into the plants, and the plants chew up these microbes and get the minerals. So all the trace minerals in the soil, and so that's why over farming and industrial farming is so bad, because it destroys all these microbes. Now, the fulvic and humic, why it's so important? Because it has all the minerals you need, and it has all the trace minerals, all the major minerals, all the amino acids, all the fatty acids, everything in this stuff, because they mine it from prehistoric plant material that's been around for millions of years. And so it's this, and so what that does is, it acts as, you get all the minerals you need in the right proportions, and they're all bioavailable because they're in a plant form. So and I take that every day. It's on my website too. They go to the recommendations page. It's fulvic, humic. I think it's vital earth minerals, or I'm not trying to remember the ones I'm using, but yeah, they'll see it. But it's critical because the soil is so depleted. And that's one of the reasons everyone is ill, especially in America, is because minerals don't fall out of the sky. They're either in the water or they're either in the water or the food.
Right.
And so if you don't have minerals, you can't structure waters efficiently. The body will pull minerals from itself. And so supplementing with this supplement is so critical for your health. It really is.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's funny. People ask me, they're like, how do you decide what supplements and minerals you need? I'm like, I let the ruminant animals do it, and then they eat it. They package it up as in their meat, and they make it taste like ribeye. So that I want it.
yeah, and that's the thing. Grass-fed, regenerative farms. That's why it's so important to support these regenerative farmers, because those cows are crucial for the environment and sustainability for our planet. And it's a cycle. They pee on the ground and poop, and then that is fertilizer, and then they eat the microbes. There's microbes in their gut, and then they poop them out. It's this huge cycle of life.
For sure.
And grain-fed, has minerals in the meat, probably not as many, but yeah, grass-fed, if you can get it, ruminants, and like Bart K talks about, and all the ruminants are your friend. That's the best source of, because the cow is doing all the work for you. It's taking something we can't eat, which is a plant, and turning it into extremely bioavailable protein that has everything you need in it, really.
For sure. Yeah, I always say they're God's juicer.
Yeah, it's good. That's good. That's a good one, Todd. I like that. That's good.
Tim, ever notice how much, including myself, we look for the magic supplements, the pill, that will give us health when we just need need eating more meat? What am I doing? I cannot see. There we go. I'm word salad. Well, we just eating enough meat is the answer, 100%. And I mean, that is the answer, right? And it's so simple, but there's just no money in it for these people, So I love what Gary Taub and Robert Lustig always talk about, that our nutrition stopped being nutrition and started being a commodity, when they started making it a product that had to have a shelf life and had to be able to be shipped and had to, be able to be stored and boxed and sold for convenience and all of these things. We lost track of why we put stuff in our pie hole, which is for nutrients and health. But, the dead giveaway to me all the time when I think about this is just going back to the simple thing is, why is there all these Beyond meats, right? You never see a Beyond like carrot or something that they're like, this steak, we made it carrot flavored or celery flavored. This is a ribeye, but we made it taste like celery and carrots, so you'll eat more of it. They're always taking vegetables and they're always making vegetables taste like bacon and ribeye. You never see anybody taking steak and making it taste like carrots.
Or celery.
That's a good point.
Because we're not supposed to eat that crap. Like, like, why are there all these vegans that are literally trying? They're like, look, if I shave this carrot and I brush it with shoe polish and it makes it look like it has grill marks, and if you close your eyes on a Tuesday, it tastes like a hot dog. It's like, because
no, it doesn't taste like a hot dog.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't at all. Oh, there we go. Oh, we have got to get these entries up, folks.
Wow,
So,
38.
I know
That's
we got like, between all the channels, we got like 140 people in here. So you guys gotta get in there, subscribe to the channels, put hashtag tasty just as you see it, and you'll be entered into the drawing for $150 air fryer. So
am I allowed to enter?
Yeah, enter that thing. There's only, these people are slacking today.
Hey, you want anything funny about a vegan story? This lady, Natasha Campbell McBride, who, when I was writing my book, really smart lady, a scientist and a researcher and a doctor. She talks about the vegan myth and how being vegan is just the worst thing you can do, especially with gut problems and all these things. And she was saying in one of her videos, it was fascinating. She said that she had a story about this guy who was vegan, and one day he was walking by a restaurant, and in the window there was a chicken cooking or something. Or like, it was something like on a fryer or like, on a roasting thing or whatever, right? And he went unconscious, went in and grabbed it and ate the whole thing and didn't even know he did it.
Wow.
And I'm thinking that's because the body is starving for these things. And if you don't give it to it, it will go unconscious. Where you just automatically do it. And I think a lot of vegans, and I don't know how many, but I'm guessing some vegans probably are eating meat and they don't even know it.
Right.
Maybe, possibly. What's your thoughts on that, Michael? I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think so. I think Todd does that all the time with his steaks, and he blames the dog on it.
That's why I wake up a couple ribeyes short and be like, no, I hear you. And like you were saying earlier, that, these plants are smart and we don't give things credit. I don't know how much truth is in this, but it is weird when you're going through carb withdrawals, when you're starting this, that you start, you're such an addict and your brain's going crazy. You start dreaming about food. You start dreaming about sugar. And it's like your body, what I heard that can be is that there's certain gut parasites and things that live off of sugar, and they can actually cause you to have dreams and things, to cause you at such a high level to crave sugar to feed them because they're trying not to die.
Because they're in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another reason it's so hard is people. I feel for them because you have no say in the matter. In reality, it's not even willpower. It is doing this as a protocol and going carnivore. You're on a path, but in the beginning, you have no say in the matter. Your gut, like you were saying, Todd, the gut is saying, no, I'm eating sugar whether you like it or not. I don't care what you want.
Yeah,
it's in control, not you.
Yeah, I've always said that. That literally trying to stick long term to a calorie restrictive diet while trying to moderate the drug that you're addicted to is just like trying to hold your breath. Like how long are you going to be successful at holding your breath? And then as soon as you finally break down and you have to breathe because you want that, your body's screaming for the next carb fix, like it's screaming for your next breath of air. And then you sit there and we tell these people, well, you just don't have the willpower. You're not strong enough. You're weak. You have a disorder, you have a condition, all these stupid things, because we're not regulating, near as I can tell, that's, the drug that's most, the most addictive drug that exists right now. Like, we don't consider it that because it kills you over a long period of time and it steals from you slowly and it, wrecks your health slowly. But, name a drug that has more addicts using it today than sugar. I can't think of one.
Everybody is it.
Yeah. It's incredible. What does the term fat adapted mean? Anybody want to take a shot at that?
Basically, fat adapted means that the enzymes are upregulated in the cells to be able to burn fat efficiently. So that means that you're metabolically flexible too. So you can burn carbs as well, but you're also able to burn the fat that you're eating because, like I said, those enzymes have been dormant for so long because you've been eating so much sugar and so much carbs that and the body's storing all this fat. It doesn't know how to burn it or utilize it because all you're doing is eating sugar. And so you become fat adapted. You're able to take your basically fat stores on your body and utilize that as fuel. And like I said earlier in the conversation, even me, I'm thin. I still probably have 100. I think I read 100,000 calories or something like that. Have you heard about that, Todd? On your body or something?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, at least 100,000 calories, or I won't call it calories because calories don't exist, but 100,000 units of energy, as opposed to when you are eating carbs. I think you have 1,200 units of energy stored at one time. 1,200 compared to 100,000. You do the math.
Yep. It's so crazy. Yeah. And I mean, for people like me, I think I had 3 million units of energy and stored fat, like I did if you take it, if calories meant something at 35 calories per pound, I went through it and I did the math one time and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have about 3 million calories. I think I'm good. Well, and I joke about it because it was funny, but that's what I was so mad is that I'd meet dietitians and I'm like, why didn't nobody ever explain to us, when we're on the standard American diet, people are like, how could you be 700 pounds? How could you, that's one of the questions that drives me the most crazy is how could you get to 700 pounds and let yourself go like that? I'm like, what do you mean let myself go? You think that I didn't try to stop it? Like I went from 0 to 700 and then was like, maybe I better cut. Like I did this
ridiculous
from my whole life. I went on more calorie restrictive diets than anybody I know. I tried everything, including just stopping eating. I lost 300 pounds twice in my life before and 200 pounds twice in my life before, gained it all back. But I was 600 pounds when I was 14 because there's a real problem. And the real problem is that when you are so insulin resistant and you're metabolically sick like that, your body does not burn fat as fuel. And that's why I never had any success on a moderation diet. I would either be fully carb addicted, or I would have to starve myself and not eat for days at a time. And so I was always in a fasted state because then it would force, which I didn't know at the time, but it was forcing myself to finally be fat adapt. My insulin would drop low enough that my body could finally burn fat. But my question is, this whole time, none of the dietitians ever said, you don't burn fat when you're eating carbohydrates. When you have insulin resistance and your body's putting out insulin, it's impossible to burn fat. They never said that. They never once told it to me like that. They just put it in the you have to create a deficit model, right? And then even more so, they never told me that you're not eating for fuel. Your body's actually screaming out for nutrients. You have 3 million stored fuel cells in your body right now. You're fine with fuel. You have all the fuel that you could possibly need. So when we're calorie restricting and they tell us, fat's going to give you a heart attack, red meat's going to give you colon cancer, can't have any of that evil meat, can't have any of that stuff, right? By default, they start pushing us toward rice and grains and vegetables and all this crap. Well, those are all carbohydrates that are going to raise your insulin, going to make it impossible for you to burn any body fat as fuel. But also, it's not what our body's looking for. That is just fuel. That's what you're eating when you're eating carbohydrates, is pure empty calorie, or nutrient deficient fuel. That's all that you're eating. And our body was screaming for protein. Our body was screaming for fats. Our body was screaming for nutrients and minerals that our body needed. And we would sit here and eat all this empty bull crap because I never made the connection. Nobody ever sat there and told me that you eat for building blocks and you eat for fuel, and you have all the fuel that you can stand but you need the right nutrients. You need the right building blocks. Nobody ever breaks it down that way, but it's so obvious when you look at it, that if you just start balancing that out with the building blocks you need, that fat will come off, and you can finally regulate.
Let me say something about diets too, for people that are listening. The problem with diets is, like you said, the calorie restriction is that when you starve your body is smarter than you are. And so you starve your body, and if you're not on a carnivore diet or something like that, or maybe a vegan diet, but if you're on a standard diet, we go back to eating what you're eating, because no one could stay on that. It's like Todd said, you can't hold your breath forever. So you're starving yourself. Then your body says, okay, you want to play that game? Now you eat something. We're going to eat a piece of lettuce, and we're going to gain 5 pounds. So if you want to try to starve me again, I'm smarter than you are. So I wouldn't try that again. And the first time you diet, you're kind of in trouble. It's not a cumulative thing. It's one time you diet, and you're on your way to being in trouble because of that. Because your body's like, we're not playing that game. And so that's why a carnivore, low carb, vegan, if you have to change your lifestyle, because you'll never be able to, you'll yo-yo, and it'll never happen ever because of that reasoning, because your body's like, don't try to starve me, pal, because I ain't playing that game. Literally, it's what it's saying.
Right. Well, and it's it's doing it out of survival of the fittest, right? Like as soon as you show it that your environment is lacking in nutrients and food, and as soon as it gets nervous, it just slows your metabolism down, and it gets really efficient at storing everything, and it burns very little calories. And that's why I love the SBG priming and feasting and fasting, priming and fasting protocol, is because you feast. You feast and you do things right so that your body will calm down. You show it that you have this real plentiful, nutrient-rich environment, that it doesn't have to store anything. You get it used to having all the nutrients that it needs, and your metabolism goes up. And then when it does, you can kind of mimic hunting, where feasting and fasting, like where we would go out in our natural state, and we might go 3 days without eating, and our body's fine on it. And so you lean out, you finally use some of those stored fuels, but you maintain a high metabolism, and your body doesn't stress out over it. That's the difference between a proper nutrient
nourished fast.
Thank you. I was looking for that word, nourished fast, because if you have a low metabolism and you're not nourished and you try to fast, you just hurt your metabolism more. But if you are nourished and your body's comfortable and calm, and it's not in a stressed out state about the bioavailability of all the food, your body will just run through the stored fat, and you'll lean out. You'll have plenty of energy. It's quite amazing. And one more thing I was going to say on the fat adaptation part is a cool hack that I'd never thought of before, but when I experienced it, the thing that made me the most fat adapt, or most efficient at moving stored fat through fat adaptation, was dry fasting. And don't do it until you're ready, and don't do it till you're nourished, and read in about it. But when your body has to go to those fat cells for metabolic fluid, you get really fat adapt pretty quick. But go ahead, Jim. Benjamin?
Oh, yeah. No, I was just going to say that when you are on a calorie restricted diet, you're constantly thinking about food, like you say. So you're on this, like, you can't. Yeah, you're like, all I think about is food, because the body is being starved for nutrients, and you can only do it for so long. And that's why when you do that, you're like basically white knuckling it.
Yep. Because
you're cookies. There's cookies here, and being like we are carnivore. For people listening, the freedom you feel, I can't explain it, Todd, Lindy, and Michael. You feel like you've been freed of that shackle. It's like after we're done with this, I'll probably eat some beef and some avocado. That's it. I'm done. But I can eat tomorrow. Yeah. And if I don't, but when I was carb addicted, and this is a really quick story, it's really kind of very powerful. When I was carb addicted, I was like, 30s and 40s. I remember I would go like 6 hours without eating. And I was get shaky and hangry. You know, people get hangry, right? When you're, when you're, and I started stuttering, Todd. And I was like, this is scary. I'm like, I was like, what is going on? I was panicked. I'm like, do I have to eat more carbs? What's going on? I went to my doctor. He's, oh, you're fine. I'm like, I'm not fine. Stuttering?
Right.
Because my brain was not able to use the fat or the ketones, and I was running out of sugar. And I was I was super inflamed, and it was terrifying.
Yep.
It was terrifying to stutter. I'm like, something's wrong with my brain, man. And so there's so many bad things that happen when you're addicted to carbs. It's just bad.
100%. Let's see. Anna says carnivore is nutrient dense, so your bones, teeth, joints, etc. become dense. So your weight measurements is not a way to measure it. Yep. I went up on weight and down on size from size 22 to 2. Holy crap.
Wow.
Congratulations. 2? That's incredible. Jeez. Yeah, for sure. I know what you mean. When I was doing the priming protocol at SBG, I gained 21 pounds and lost 3 shirt sizes. You know, it's just, it was crazy in that 6 months. But yeah, Anna's 100% right. And congratulations. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Amazing.
Tim, there he is. Yeah, I'm just, he got rid of the frozen talk. Fat adapted, when you are eating animal-based way of eating and your body uses fat for fuel in lieu of glucose. 100%.
Can I say something really quick? On his thing, it says, Tim, from walker to walking. Is that true, Tim? That's fantastic if that's true.
Oh,
Has this guy been on your show before?
Oh, yeah. He's in the SBG gang. He's a good friend of ours. And yeah, Tim, we watched him. This is what I'm talking about in community, right? Wow. Tim's one of the superstars in the SBG. But, you know, Tim was using a walker. He wasn't able to work. He's back. He's on his feet, back at work. He's fully employed again. I mean, it's crazy. And what a transformation Tim's made. And this is why communities are so important. We have on Saturdays, every Saturday, we have what's called an NSP meeting, which is non-scale victory, because we don't care about the scale. We care about how you feel, how you're feeling, the things that are healing. And we have people like Tim all day long that'll sit there and they will get their life back. They'll get to go back to work. They drive again. They see again. Fantastic. You know, it's just incredible to see. I think I know what Michael's doing. I have a feeling.
Look how good he looks.
Michael likes to take pictures. Do you have Tim's before and after pictures, Michael?
No, I don't know if I have that. Let me see.
No worries. It's in the SBG, but we might not have it out here. You can take a look while we're going through. Lindy, has the money needed for your surgery been met through the Funded Me yet? So close. We're at 74%, but I know we got 3 more weeks and we'll get it there. So, but we're getting so close. You guys are amazing, though. You guys are. I can't even believe it. I can't wait for Lindy to have that and be free from that. That's going to be incredible. You guys are.
She's not going to hang around with us anymore.
I know. She's going to be in a cool big club of her own.
I got payback. I'll be chasing you one. You're going to have to keep jumping and exercising because I'll be after you.
She's going to come beat us up for doing this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I didn't agree to this, but thank you anyway. I appreciate it.
Doesn't cheese have lactose in it? And lactose is sugar. Of course, it could be problematic. Yes and no. I mean, I don't really count carbs when they're in animal products. I could care less when they're in animal products. You know, for instance, I started carnivore with very low testosterone, and in order to combat that, I started eating a ridiculous amount of eggs because of the DHEA that's in eggs. But I, for a long time, was taking 54 egg yolks every day. Well, that's a lot of carbohydrates, like 30 carbohydrates worth of egg yolks. Did it knock me out of ketosis or anything? Not, even if it did, I wouldn't care. But no, it doesn't. Animal carbohydrates are a totally different thing, in my opinion. So
yeah, and I think that. Can you hear me? Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there is carbs in meat, and there is carbs in all animal products. But just like Todd said, it's very small because, first of all, the carbs that are in meat are basically on the cell membrane, just kind of get sciencey and nerdy. But those glycocalyx I was talking about, the membrane, all those receptors have sugar chains attached to them. So there's sugar. I mean, that's how these receptors work. They use these sugar chains to signal other molecules in other cells. That's how they work. So there's sugar, period. Glucose. It's just not that much, right? That's the difference.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And you know how, like, have you ever seen those guys with the CGM that do the videos on what if I eat certain amount of protein, a certain amount of fat before I eat my carbs? Does it slow down the rise of glucose and blood sugar and all that stuff? I think when it's such a tiny amount compared to the fat and protein that you're getting, I think it slows down the burn of the carbohydrate to nothing, where it's completely inconsequential. Yeah. I really think in dairy, especially pasteurized dairy, well, I'd say I can only speak of pasteurized dairy, but I think really what it is more in the casing and the casomorphines. I think that cause people some issues with that, but I could be wrong. I haven't figured that one out yet. So
no, for me, set off switch, it doesn't turn that off switch.
Right.
So, I live on that. If my off switch isn't activated, I won't stop eating. It's just the way it is.
100%.
So cheese doesn't work for me.
Best iodine supplement, I use Lugol's, the J. Crow's 5% Lugol's iodine is what I use.
Same. Yep.
Yeah. And that's just because I live in the mountains and I don't live close. I don't eat seafood. So let's see. My mom has severe gastroparesis. Can she do carnivore? Scared of high fat.
That's horrible. Is it like mom has severe? But is it from? What's it from though? That's the question. Is it from these? We can't talk about them. Is it from that? What happened to her? I would recommend. Yeah, absolutely. She could do carnivore. Yeah, just like carnivore, and buy my book and start looking. And the things on my model. Whatever you can do to reduce inflammation, because gastroparesis is inflammation. It's all inflammation, chronic inflammation. Start nose breathing, start the structured water, start the fulvic and humic, go in the sun, start sun gazing in the morning. All these things, they can't hurt you. All they can do is help for your body to heal itself. And since we don't know her whole answer here, I don't know. That's horrible, but we don't know what it's from, though, Todd.
Yeah. I'm going to guess that it's probably not from GLP-1s, but maybe so. But I do know in the steak and butter gang, there's been several people that had gastroparesis, not from GLP-1s, and they absolutely have reversed it on carnivore diets. It takes a little bit longer, and you really, I think they end up using like amino acids to help with gut digestion. To break through that, they end up using like ox bile, bile salts, and a few digestive bridges. Yeah, lipase. Yeah.
Let me say something else about that too. That's important. The gastroparesis. So inflammation causes chronic dehydration, and I write in my book. I made this really cool analogy that the pancreas's main job is not to make insulin. The pancreas's main job is to make a sodium bicarbonate solution to irrigate the small intestine. So I don't know if you got that far in the book yet, Todd, but remember I write that think of the gut as a water slide, the small intestine as a water slide, or the large intestine. If there's no water in there and stuff's going through there, it's kind of like you're on a water slide. There's no water on the water slide. It's going to cause friction burns. It's going to hurt. It's going to cause bleeding, right? It's the same principle. So keeping the gut irrigated by by doing the things in the green side of my model and keeping as much hydration in you and as much structured water will also help in that process.
Yeah. And Thomas here says, I had gastroparesis, found intermittent fasting helped me. Thomas, can you elaborate and let us know, has carnivore diet helped or hindered your gastroparesis? I'd love to know. That would help us out a lot. We will wait to hear on that one. And let's see.
I just have to say, I love how the community supports each other. You know, we're all helping each other, giving each other tips and ideas. Yeah, you're just all amazing.
100%. And that's another reason not to harp on community so much. But the fact of the matter is, this is the first thing that I noticed that I was, I did carnivore for the first 9 months without a community. And I thought that communities were for women and whatever, like I was too tough for that. And I was just an idiot because as soon as I got in there, I was just like, oh, well, this makes so much sense. It's just like crowdsourcing information and nobody has a bias because everybody has the same goal, which is just to get healthy, to not be sick, to not be tired, to not be hurt, and to be free from addiction. And it's like, what a better crowd of people to be around than like-minded people that just want to share unbiased information to help each other get well. I mean, what a great place to be.
Yeah.
Question. Love all the great info in these videos. I am convinced that autophagy is so very important to reversing all the damage a lifetime of American diet has caused us all. Can you all speak on this? Well, 100% sure, in my opinion. So the hardest thing that I've had to fight and still am fighting is the massive lymphedema mass tissue on my legs, right? And because my calves were huge, they were 36 inches in diameter on both calves, which are bigger than most people's waists. And yeah, pain in the butt, right?
Wow.
But that stuff's not supposed to go away. And through some really aggressive fasting, which I shout out to SBG again, because I couldn't have done it until I'd gotten nourished, because I tried fasting before and it was just a nightmare with a tanked metabolism. I couldn't make it through it. But after I did the priming protocol and got nourished, I completed 12 7-day fasts last year. And when I did that, the fasting and the autophagy and the mitophagy ate away 9 inches of impacted tissue on my right calf and 8.5 inches on my left calf, which is not supposed to come off of there. They say you can only get it off of there with liposuction, and fasting took it off. So I still have ways to go, but the fasting absolutely and the autophagy is key to me.
Absolutely. You want me to go ahead, Lindy?
No, you go. You're fine.
Okay. So mitophagy, you're saying mitophagy, and that is so important. Autophagy is like the cell cleaning itself out. So I use this analogy of, imagine the sugar and all the gluten. You're shoving groceries or boxes or furniture in your house. You keep shoving it in. And it's like, the cells, I don't need more furniture. So then what it's doing is it's rearranging the furniture and going, hey, maybe I can take this piece of wood and make something new out of this. So it's taking proteins and recycling them and doing different things with them. The mitophagy is super important. The mitophagy is mitochondrial fusion and fission, where they're either coming together or coming apart. Mitochondria are fascinating. They actually, and this is new research in the last probably 5 years, but cells actually share mitochondria between themselves. Mm-hmm. So they'll put a mitochondria in like a little vesicle and package and send it to another cell that needs it. And when I learned that, I was like, oh my God, these things, the body's a miracle. These things are intelligent. So it's sending mitochondria, giving mitochondria. There's a gentleman that is working on a project that they're trying to make mitochondria reactors to basically help people. They give you new mitochondria, and they're working on this stuff to hopefully increase lifespan by giving you fresh new mitochondria.
That's awesome.
It's fascinating. And when you have damaged mitochondria, I was reading this article, and this guy had his mother, and she had there was these tests, and it showed the mitochondrial DNA gene interruptions, or what do you call them, transcription errors. And the more you have, the worse off you are. So it was him. He was like 60, and then his son. So his son had like 10% or something. He had like, I don't know, 25%. I'm not sure of the exact numbers. And then his mom had like 25% mitochondrial dysfunction errors on this like chart. It was like measuring all the mutations. And if you have 30% or something, it's lights out. And she was at like 20% or 25. I'm not sure the exact numbers, but my point is, if they give people new mitochondria, it's just a game changer, period.
100%. And that's why mitophagy, and for anybody that doesn't know, autophagy is basically, like, say, breaking down and repairing broken proteins, and mitophagy is the same thing, but for the mitochondrial cells. And what's interesting is when you have a dead cell or a broken cell, it stops vibrating. And then the cells around it, they go dormant and stop vibrating. And so that's how you end up with and this is, I'm just repeating things that I've read, but that's my understanding what happens to them. And so when your body, it's like completing a circuit again. When your body goes in, because when you have a dead or damaged cell in the middle of this group of cells, it's like you have a damper in there that's keeping the other cells from resonating. Right. And when you repair those cells, it's like completing the circuit again. And then they can, so I think that's a lot of why we end up with poor circulation and why we end up with certain neuropathy in our limbs. And, that's what one thing they said that they definitely watched it happen is on gray hair. If you have a broken protein cell in one of the follicles or in one of the areas around the follicles for melanin, the other ones start going dormant. And that's why you'll have one gray hair and then it starts to spread. That's where they witness that the most. And so if you start to reverse that and you start fixing the dead cells, the dormant ones around them that might not even be damaged or dead, that just stop resonating, start to move again. It's so crazy. And so it can, you can see the benefits from that really quickly through some fasting, but don't fast until you've healed your metabolism. You don't want to fast with a tanked metabolism. That's not fun.
Yeah.
So.
And not everybody can fast. I had the lap band surgery, so I can't do a nourished fast because I can't prime enough to be able to do it. So I like how Dr. Chafee says that just being on a carnivore diet, you are experiencing some level of autophagy. Mm-hmm. And I do intermittent fast. So like some days I might just have one meal a day. Sometimes it's two. And sometimes I can just do a 24-hour fast and not flinch at all. So I just listen to my body and do what I can. So don't think you need to do 7-day rolling, 7-day fast like Todd. There's no way I can do it, but I think my legs are so much better with the lymphedema and I'm still getting really good benefits from what I'm doing. So just want to throw that out there for anyone else having issues with fasting and
For sure. And I want to clarify, nobody has to do a 7-day fast. I'm literally only doing it because I can and because I believe a lot in what Jason Fung talks about with the fasted insulin set point and insulin resistance, that some of the most beneficial things you can do to repair insulin resistance is fast. And so that's the only reason why I go after that so hard too. Let's see. Thomas answered us back. And he's talking about the gastroparesis. He said it mostly helped it. I still take, I don't know what that is. So it must be some kind of medication, asmoprozole. But I went from daily to weekly, and I usually just drink hot water slowly. I used to throw up every night. Good Lord. But now I just have stomach rumblings. I'm so glad that's
there's a second one as well.
But the fasting helped. The fasting helped it the most. Started with a 12-12. Now I eat 2 times a day, 4 to 6 hours in between. Right now I'm doing a 3-day fast. Oh, that's awesome, Thomas. Let us know how that goes for you too.
And the longest his fast is 9 days, just further down.
Wow.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. Oh, and Thomas says the cowboy hat alone should earn a like. Well, thank you, Thomas. I feel like this cowboy hat's going to get its own Instagram page here pretty soon. Thank you so much. There's Tim. Marsha is making eggshell powder. Any suggestions on how to take it? Do we add it to water, and how much do we take? And then Cranky, I think, was getting on top of that. He said, my calcium supplement comes from eggshells so that I can crush into eggs. That's awesome. Then he said, Dr. Ken Berry recommends roasting the eggshells, crushing them, sprinkling them on food. You might search his channel for the amount. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is
Cool.
interesting.
I know that a lot of farmers feed their chickens the eggshells.
Yep.
What about vegans before John Deere? Yeah, exactly. Before industrialized farming, I'm guessing he's saying. For sure. Yeah.
That's a good point.
I know. There's so many things. We're just getting big enough to get on their radar. So I'm sure we're going to have a whole bunch of what is Joe Rogan call them? The most ruthless, vicious bunch of caring, compassionate people he's ever met. I'm sure we'll be running into those pretty soon.
Pump this up one more time.
Oh, I was
All
just
right.
going to ask. Still,
All
we haven't hit 100 yet. Come on.
Yeah, what are you guys doing? Do you not like free air fryers? This is a tasty free air fryer, brand new in the box. Like we're not cutting any corners here, people. This isn't off the shelf. This is brand new. So just hit hashtag tasty. Make sure you're subscribed to every channel that you comment hashtag tasty will get you an entry, and we are going to be giving it away in about 20 minutes from right now. So we're going to be spinning the wheel, and the more times you enter the on each channel, the more likely you are to have a good shot at winning it. So
yeah, so we've got 3 channels here plus Todd's Rumble, I think.
Yep, Rumble and X actually. So you can
X
get in
as well. Wow.
5 times. So
5 entries.
For sure. All of us that have lost weight were diet experts. Keto carnivore was the only way. 100%. That is so true. That's why
you noticed diet was a 4-letter word, and it also starts with a DIE.
For sure. Yeah, I know there was so on our there was some mental midget in the comments of Bella's and ours. Well, on Bella's channel on our last live stream we did from last Friday, that was chewing on us for being unhealthy and being dare talk about carnivore. And it's like, oh, give me a break. What do skinny people? Don't skinny people die of disease too from their diet? It's like buzz off. Yeah, I got another 100 pounds to lose, but I've been out here in the public now for 2 years, and what we're trying to show here is the process from being helpless to actually watching it be sustainable and completely getting your life back. So you can run your mouth all you want, but just because you were one of the people that didn't end up with a weight problem doesn't mean you're healthy, by the way. I know a lot of people that end up with autoimmune diseases that are perfectly skinny and perfectly sick. You know?
And I think it's safe to say that the 3 of us wouldn't be here today if we didn't start carnivore when we did.
Nope.
Speaking of the being skinny and healthy, there's something called visceral fat, subcutaneous fat, and liver fat. Yep. So you could be, it depends on your ethnicity. You could be thin and go, oh, I'm great, I'm healthy. You have no idea how much liver fat you have or visceral fat. And if you have 6 pounds, let's see, I wrote in my book, I think it's a half a pound liver fat is bad news. 6 pounds of visceral fat, and you're in trouble. Approximately, these are approximate numbers. And the subcutaneous fat is underneath the skin is not as metabolically active. But the visceral fat and the liver fat are terribly metabolically active and causing chronic inflammation. So exactly. yeah, just because you're thin, you're not out of the woods, and you need to get tested. I think there's different scans obviously they can do to test that. But you're just because, and if you're overweight, if you're heavy or big, it doesn't necessarily mean you have liver fat or visceral fat either. So right. Yeah,
100%. And it's funny. Like I don't care. I don't feed the trolls, but I love the fight sometimes with these people because their cognitive dissonance is crazy, right? And when you start seeing it, and it's just like, look, I didn't look at when I was 700 pounds. I didn't watch any skinny people's channels because they didn't know what the heck I was going through. They didn't know the way out. Do you know what I mean? And so the idea that 74% of the world's population is metabolically sick and overweight. Yet there's people out there that don't want people that have lost 500 pounds and 300 pounds and 200 pounds to talk about it because we weren't blessed enough not to not be overweight at one point in our life. It's pretty hilarious. The idea of that is absolutely silly. It's like, right, because we're supposed to listen to a skinny person that never fought a weight problem tell us how to lose 500 pounds. It makes no sense. You know what I mean?
And they might not be healthy, and they're giving
right.
advice.
Exactly. They're just assuming because they look a certain way that they're some sort of expert on it. And it's just like,
no,
yeah, not so much. It's pretty incredible. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Wow, Todd, you have so many relatable epiphanies. For me, I dieted my whole life and only became morbidly obese. Yeah, there. Speak of what we were just talking about. 100%. And this is what I try to tell people because the other comment that I've been getting a whole lot on Instagram is, it just baffles my mind. How does somebody get to 700 pounds? And I'm like, well, what baffles my mind is how does 74% of the population of the United States become obese? Right? That's the real question. And the fact of the matter is, if you look around, it's not that hard to understand how this is happening. But what the takeaway we should come away from is that for you to think that this is strange and it's absolutely tragic and it's not right. It's not what we're designed for. We're out of our environment, right? But this is going to become more and more prevalent, more of the standard. It's going to become more, our size is going to become closer to the average if we don't fix this soon, right? And so what's ridiculous is that you can look at 74% of 8 billion people that are getting metabolically sick, and you still believe the propaganda that it has to do with calories, right? like if it had to do with calories, how the heck the 74% of 8 billion people all falling subject to it, if the answer is truly calorie restriction, if the answer is truly drugs, why is it failing us so miserably? Can you explain that to me? Just ask yourself a few of those questions. Why are we having such a population destroying metabolic problem when just 100 years ago we didn't have this and we didn't have any of the technology we have now? We didn't have this problem. Like, this is really not that big of a brain twister. It absolutely is our food environment. And this is why the big food and big pharma want us all to believe that it has to do with control, with being able to moderate. They want us to believe that because then they can blame it on us. If we stop taking the blame because we can't moderate this highly addictive drug and we start looking at the source of what happened to our food, then that's their fault and we can go after them. And so it's a total sleight of hand propaganda thing where they're just using this moderation thing to blame the people that they're getting addicted to their drugs. That's all they're doing.
The other problem too, Todd, is that what people are not realizing is that the technology is causing a lot of problems. Why? Because it's interrupting the cells, the frequencies, the unnatural frequencies are causing stress on the cells. It's causing inflammation. So when 5G happened, there's been a lot of explosion of chronic disease. The higher the technology goes this way, the worse off we're going to be. Okay. And so unless we not all become carnivore, but unless we do something, and for the pharmaceutical companies and the big food, to defend them in one way, if you want to eat horrible food and processed food, like I write in my book, be grateful that they are willing to help you so you're not miserable. So like if you want to eat bad food and you have stomach problems, well, there's acid block, whatever. So they are, and plus they also, help you get your tooth pulled. Novocaine, thank God they came out with Novocaine. Can you imagine, without Novocaine? So they do have their place, but if you want to eat the right way, you probably won't need them. But there's more to it than food. There's the soil, there's the technology, and there's a lot to it that we've got to work on.
For sure, but here's what it boils down to me. First of all, I want to say with friends like that, who the hell needs enemies? And second of all, where it boils down to for me is I'm just a dumb electrician in Montana, and I found the answer to these things, which leads me to believe that all the multi-billion-dollar industries know the answer to these problems, but there's no money to be had in it. There's no industry behind it. Now, I'm not saying it's 100% their problem. It's turned into be one of those societal things where, people are like, well, one man can't just fix it. But somewhere the rubber meets the road, and there's a certain number of so-called professionals that know the truth and are still spitting bullcrap, right? They're still out here saying that Ansel Keys got it right, and that cholesterol is a problem, and that red meat will cause butt cancer, and all this stupid stuff, right? And they're still spitting all this crap out there, confusing everybody because there's a bottom line. And the truth of the matter is they end up on the Stalininsky line of thinking of the ends justify the means. And so these poor, dumb citizens are just such addicts that they'll never do the hard things that it takes anyhow. So we might as well just make them a pill and manage their sickness and their symptoms. And it's like bullcrap. That's not the case. Part of it is, it'd be one thing if it was at least dealt with like cigarettes are now, where it's like, yeah, those are probably going to give you cancer, but smoke them if you want them. That would at least be a fair route to take. If they're like, eat the sugar and the bull crap if you want, but it's probably going to make you fat, give you diabetes, and then you're not going to lose any weight because you can't lose weight when you're insulin resistant, and that's going to cause that. And the answer probably is that you're way better off eating meat and saturated fat, but you make the choice. It would at least be something if it was at least that honest, but it's not that honest. There's a whole propaganda that is pushed out there, and where the truth is hidden from people. They have, for whatever reason, our food environment has completely been manipulated and screwed up. And now it's very profitable. It's very profitable. And it's, there's a lot to gain by it. There's a lot to gain by keeping us addicted to a product that we have to buy, that then gets us sick, that pushes us into a market of symptom management that we have to buy, that has side effects that cause more symptoms, that require us to buy more products to manage those symptoms. And we fall into this just spiral of this nonsense. And then somewhere in there, we're so distracted and so busy and so mentally tired and fed up that we're kind of mentally weak. And so they can get us to vote certain ways on certain things. They can give us to give up freedoms and be scared. And we're pretty malleable when we get in that position. I think that's what, that's why they're not giving it up. They gain control by making us more easily controllable population, and also by taking the money, by making so much money on it. Yeah, big pharma lays the trap for a lifelong dependence on RX to line their pockets, 100%. And I mean, all we have to do is look at the big 12 companies, and all the 12 companies own all the big food and all the big pharma. And Ice-T said it the best: they sell the bullets and the Band-Aids. That's what they're doing. They've been doing it for a long time.
Both ends covered. Yep.
Yeah, and so we literally, you can literally look at poor health in this drug and big food system as just another giant tax. It's just another way of taking all of our money to line their pockets, to gain control, and then also to wear us down and make us tired, so that we're not a formidable free thinking society anymore. And that is 100% true. That's why they go after toxic masculinity and testosterone. I guess I'm just going to get on the soapbox and say, well, everything that I think tonight, but it's the truth. Oh, we did that one. Sorry. Do you all just eat meat, that and eggs? That's about it. How about you guys?
Yeah, pretty strict.
Now, what's funny is they say that there's roughly, 640,000 products in the grocery store. And then everybody says, well, if you're just eating meat and eggs, that's so restrictive. But I disagree because those 600, just because I don't care what color sprinkles you put on the turd, it's still just carbohydrates. Like, the cereal, the Pop-Tarts, the cookies, the bread, the nonsense.
But once you break it all down,
it's all the same damn thing. It's just, poison with a different color sprinkle on top.
Well, the other thing too is that, Todd, is that what's more I heard someone say this. I think Ken Berry said it, Dr. Berry, on his YouTube channel or something. What's more restrictive, eating eggs and meat, or not being able to walk, or not being able to think straight, or having huge gut problems, and you have your stomach is aching and you're bloated, or you've got brain fog, or you can't walk because you're late? Which is more restrictive?
Fair. I can say it right here. 25 years I've been homebound. Okay, so carnivore is going to give me my life back. So sure. I'm going to stick to eating what I've been eating.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah, it's that simple.
It is. Yeah, and I mean, I watched Dad and Ty go to the doctor, take the medication, see the specialist, come home, be sick, go back 2 months later. They're a little more sick. They lose a little more mobility. They have to take more medication. They have another side effect. They have another appointment. They need to see another specialist. They both do that, and then they both died. What freedom was that, where I gave up sugar and I gained everything, Yep. In fact, somebody said that. What was that quote that was fantastic? That addiction is giving up everything for one thing, and recovery is giving up one thing for everything.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's right. That's 100% right. So don't think that you're giving up all these products. You're giving up sugar. You're giving up a poisonous, highly addictive drug, and you're getting everything in return.
Well, and besides sugar, though, let's mention the seed oils.
Right.
As that is, and what's problematic about the seed oils is that they're called something called plant sterols, phytosterols, and so when they make these seed oils, they crush the seeds. The seeds instantly start to oxidize. Okay, there's vitamin E. So what's helping the seed stay non-oxidized is there's vitamin E in the seed with it, protecting it. That's what protects the seed from oxidizing is vitamin E. When you break it open, the vitamin E goes away. They're starting to oxidize. They go rancid. They have to deodorize them. They have to bleach them because they're rancid. So would you eat a piece of rancid meat, Todd, Lindy, or Michael? No.
Oh,
but
right.
people are eating rancid oil all the time. And they don't even know it because it's been deodorized and bleached. Now, the other problem is that the phytosterols mimic cholesterol. What do I mean by that? So phytosterol is molecular identically to cholesterol. Maybe it's off by, I think, one atom or one something or other. But it's pretty close to cholesterol. So it's incorporated into cell membranes. And cholesterol, when it becomes part of the cell membrane, is vital for its integrity. Part of these,
right.
Like I said, the insulin receptors and the structural component of these receptors. So imagine having the satellite dish and having a pole that's cholesterol, but then a broken pole that's phytosterols.
Right.
How is it going to function properly?
Right.
Nobody talks about this.
For sure.
Because, there's some guys on the YouTube and some really forward-thinking scientists and doctors. It's new information, but that's what they're so bad because of their basically rancid meat. Well, not rancid meat. They're rancid.
Yeah. 100%.
And so you want to eat as few of those as possible. I read something somewhere saying that eating seed oils is like taking like a pack, like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day or something. I don't remember the exact. It's worse than smoking.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, for anybody that doesn't know where that stuff came from, they used to be called machine oils, and they were built for. Actually, I think they built them in World War II because they're covering the parts that were being shipped over the sea because the salt water and the moisture in the air was causing them to rust. So they would pack all the mechanical parts as they shipped them overseas in these seed oils, these machine oils. And then after the war was over, they had all these factories with all this oil, and they're like, "What are we going to do with this?" And they started putting it in our damn food.
Nope.
And lo and behold, that didn't pan out so well. Who would have thunk? but that's what that crap came from. That's why the industrialized agriculture and those oils and stuff from the Industrial Revolution, that was what started the downfall of everything, because our food was no longer about nutrients. It was about being a commodity and a product that had to be shipped and sold to keep our economy going.
Oh, did we go back to that question?
Yeah, go back to that.
Yeah.
What I miss?
Here, hold on. Right.
She got off out of her wheelchair.
Right Apex, yeah.
Oh,
last week.
That is incredible! Congratulations!
Wow, is that real? Oh my god! Fantastic.
That's awesome, Apex.
Yeah.
Apex, that is fantastic.
She does share her story, so do go and follow her if you haven't already. She's amazing.
Yep.
Wow.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing, but definitely go follow her. We're going to do a lightning round on the rest of these questions, then we're going to do a drawing. What would be the physical sign to me that my body is nourished? I'm only on my 7th day of carnivore. So this, wow, what a big question. It's so hard, right? Because I came from that same spot, and I'm just going to say this. I don't know if you're an SPG or not. I think you should be, because I walked that walk myself through SPG, and the answer is going to drive you nuts, and it drives everybody nuts, but it's the truth. You cannot experience it until you're there. You won't know it until you're there, and you got to test it. But all I can say is I did not know what a high functioning metabolism felt like until I got nourished, and I didn't know that until I was there. And so they've kind of put together a protocol where you do what's called priming, and it's a way of pushing your appetite to open up your appetite to get your body to call for more nutrients and to start processing it, and it raises your metabolism. And then they test it with some fasting. And if you can't fast comfortably, and it's like always a white knuckle thing, then you're not there yet. Your metabolism's still on the rocks, and you're not nourished yet. So you go back and you do a little bit more, and then you keep testing it. For some people, they are nourished in 3 to 4 weeks. For some people like me, I was 6.5 months. But the difference and the lesson that I learned there is invaluable, because one, I learned that I never in my adult life had a reference point of what a healthy metabolism felt like. And now, not only do I know what a healthy metabolism feels like, I also know when I'm over fasting and I'm starting to lower my metabolism. And even more so, there's a video out there with Thomas DeLauer where he talks about like his seven best interviews with doctors or whatever. And it was like doctor number 1 or 2, he's a coach for MMA fighters. And he was talking about when he's trying to get his MMA fighters to cut weight, to make weight class for a fight, that a lot of times if he cuts their calories or cuts their consumption too low and works them out, they won't lose any weight. And so instead, he actually has to have them eat 3,500 to 4,000 calories, what's meaning priming basically, until their metabolism gets raised. And then he can drop them down to like 3,000 calories, and they cut all the weight and they get lean, because they have to heal the metabolism first. And that is what priming does. And the reason why everybody's like, well, why do I need a program or something to help me figure out how to eat? Well, because if you're like me, I've ruined my metabolism over the years through calorie restricting, that I think that you have this kind of mindset that it's good to undereat, and that and then you start eating and you get a little leptin sensitivity back, and it's really easy to undereat. One of the easiest things to do on carnivore, especially if you come from calorie restricting, is not eat enough.
Yep.
That's super easy to do. And so you need to know what it feels like to have a high functioning metabolism and to be truly nourished, and get this idea out of your head that you're going to eat enough meat to harm yourself. You're not going to eat enough meat to harm yourself. Your body's going to heal and regulate, and then you'll get to feel that, and you'll have all these really good reference points and data to go back to your entire journey to know where you're at. And it's super handy that way. That was not a fast round. I said we're going to do a rapid fire, and then we picked a big one. You guys want to add to that?
No,
that was beautiful.
All
right, next one. I'll let you read that, Lindy, while I go through these.
I too could not walk 18 months ago, now running daily off all 25 meds. Was very near death July of 2023, then found carnivore and fasting. The rest is history. Show my before and after update in SBG.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
But carnivore at 60, how dare you give an update, because you were so ignorant at one point to have gotten sick that the trolls say that you can't, explain, you can't be on here telling your story, because how dare you? Isn't that so stupid?
Look, can I say something too quickly, Todd?
Absolutely.
So about when the people say that, well, someone had a heart attack on carnivore, I love hearing those, right? Oh, they had a heart attack and they were on carnivore, so carnivore doesn't work. I'm like, are you for real? You think the atherosclerosis happened yesterday? So they use that as, you've heard that, right? They use it as a scapegoat. Yeah.
Sure.
They were on carnivore and they had a heart attack, or they had, got Alzheimer's, they got whatever. It's because all that inflammation's been building up for 30 or 40 years. The carnivore is trying to protect it and solve it.
100%. And not only that, but it's like the number one killer amongst cardiologists is heart disease. So enough said. Like, have a good day on that one, because it's just, what do vegans die from? This is ridiculous. It's absolutely 100%. We sit here and do decades of damage to our body being in an inflamed state, and then we blame carnivore for that 6 months of carnivore is what did it. It wasn't the 26 years of Copenhagen Red Bulls and Twinkies.
Yeah. It's absurd.
Yeah, it's totally nuts. Carnivore is excellent. Why? Meat liquefies in the stomach. Absolutely. Chemical digestion, stomach acid, and enzymes break down the meat into liquid called chyme.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And she says that because there's a gentleman on YouTube, Kent Carnivore. You guys should all follow him. Kent, he's fantastic. I love that guy. And he says he has a colostomy bag.
Yep.
And he says the only thing I see in my colostomy bag is vegetable material. So when people say that meat rots in your colon, it's like the proof is if this dude, he has a colostomy bag. How can people say, the vegans or whoever, oh, it rots? There is proof that it's not, because it all is liquefied, like she's saying, in your stomach, and it's absorbed in your small intestine. The only thing he finds is little pieces of vegetables. And he said what's really fascinating, if he ate like a mushroom and he didn't, or like a piece of vegetable, like a mushroom, and he swallowed it whole, he said in his bag, it came out whole. Mm-hmm. It didn't even get broken down at all. I thought that was fascinating, Todd.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I did too. I repeat that same story every time somebody tells me that. I'm like, Kent Carnivore has a window into the end product of digestion, like literally. So it's like, screw off with this whole idea that we have an 80-pound meat colon. It's like bullcrap.
It's such a joke. It's such a joke.
And that perfectly explains, because one of the other problems where everybody's like, well, it can't be good to only poop twice a week or once a week or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it is, because we don't have a bunch of waste. It is like
body's using it all.
Yeah, our food is biologically the perfect food for us. And so our body uses like 97% of it. So there's hardly any waste at all. What's not normal is eating at Taco Bell and knowing that you got to get home in an hour because it's going to be coming out the back end because you just ate poison.
Well, and going and pooping 3 times a day is probably not ideal. I don't know. I mean, I go once a day and I'm carnivore. So you can go once, whatever, but whatever your body wants to do. But I think, people that are on a standard diet going 3 times a day might be a sign of inflammation. I think it's the body trying to get rid of something.
Poison. Stuff that's not food. The Taco Bell, the fake garbage and the seed oils. I just went, you just ate a bunch of putrefied machine oils. Please get this out of here. That's what it's doing. Like when you eat a species, appropriate diet, like Ken Berry would say, you absorb it all. This is the other thing is they're like, well, broccoli has protein in it and grains have protein in it. Yeah, but it has an absorption rate of like 3% in the body, where meat, red meat has like an absorption rate of 97%. Your body will utilize and absorb, which is what Kent proves, It's so incredible. Let's see here. Is there a book you would recommend that covers all of this in terms used? I need some basic knowledge so that I can better understand what is being shared.
My book, Ultimate Health Model. Yeah, not to promote myself, but yeah, it's really, you should go and get that book. You will learn so much. Todd,
where can they get the book?
They can get it at Amazon. They can get it. I think Amazon's the only place right now. Yeah, Amazon. Just go to Amazon.com and you'll see it. And my book has, interestingly enough, I won an award. I won an award for my book, a health book, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was surprised, and it's been endorsed by doctors.
That's awesome.
Some leading doctors, which is really, really. I mean, and this is the first book I've ever written. I was like, I just started writing because I was like, I'm sick of people getting sick, and I'm not a writer by trade, but I must have done something right.
And something for sure. Well, that's awesome. And also, yeah, definitely check out that book and get into a community. And you don't have to do in fact, she asked down here, I just saw this. So she says, what is SPG? SPG is salt, pepper, garlic, but SPG is what I've been saying. And then that's the steak and butter gang. Yeah. And me and Lindy and Michael, we're all members there. Me and Lindy do calls there. We do the open chat. We do Iron Sharpens Iron. We donate our time there because it's the community's in fantastic. But also Healing Humanity has a great group. Ken Berry's got a great group. Rivero's got a group. There's a bunch of them out there. The one that fits us the best is Steak and Butter Gang, and it's $30 a month. It's less than a soda a day to go there. And we have calls with Sean Baker, so Zoom calls where you can ask questions to Sean Baker, Anthony Chafee, Dr. Robert Kiltz, Tony Hampton. We have the big doctors. Rebecca Heichman too comes in there and does calls. Plus, we have priming protocol meetings once a week, fasting protocol meetings once a week, NSV. We are giving away 30 air fryers this month. Tasty air fryers in there.
Sugar and carb addiction meeting. Sugar and carb.
Yep, sugar and carb. Iron Sharpens Iron is a meeting that I started in there. That's for men's mental health because we see so much depression, anxiety go away, and we're trying to reach out to the veterans to see if we can help eliminate some PTSD and stop some suicide that's going on out there. Just fantastic group, huge value. Everybody that we've ever sent there just loves it to death, and it's going to be my group that I'm in till I grow old and retire the cowboy hat for sure. So definitely come and check it out. And definitely check out Benjamin's book as well.
We're definitely a big family in there. You can see a lot of the members are in the chat here. We follow each other around. We just love being.
Yeah.
Can't get enough of each other. We love each other.
Here's one of the members right here. LaDonna's in there. We just talked to her this morning. And just so you know, too, because people don't understand this.
Yeah.
These are Zoom calls. So just like this, everybody gets to hop on, and sometimes there's only 20 people. Sometimes there's 300 people in a Zoom call, and you get to ask questions, actually see everybody, see the doctors. It's quite the community for sure. Explain more about sun gazing. I have a doctor said I need to wear glasses all the time. I have cataract surgery on the 27th because it's too far gone, but I want to help with the macular degeneration in both eyes.
Yeah, I would say that the morning light. So you don't want to stare at the sun in the middle of the day in summertime. I mean, that's just obvious. There's too much. The sun, the angle's too high, and it's too direct. If you're looking at it at the sunrise or sunset, it's so low that you don't want to look directly at it. You kind of like Todd was saying, you kind of glance to the side of it, like in your peripheral vision, and just do that for even 5 minutes a day in the morning and at night. I walk 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night every day. But yeah, so what you're saying about sun gazing, don't, just get that light in your eyes. Yeah. And why your doctor's saying wear sunglasses all the time, I don't know, but sun is your friend.
Well, probably because he'll make money off you in the future if he can keep you out of the sun. But yeah, and I never knew this until I started having headaches and things, and I was trying to redo this. But when you're always inside of a building or a vehicle or a city space with buildings, when you're looking at something that's pretty close to you and you're not looking out at the horizon, your eyes are always tensed up. They're always working. They're always focused in. The only way you can truly relax your eyes is to look all the way out on the horizon. So you got to get someplace where your eyes aren't focused on a building. You can see out there miles away. And if you do that, it's crazy how relaxing that is. And your eyes will open up and you get like the maximum amount of sunlight in, and it needs that energy. And it's crazy because if you did, that's why I find it really handy, because the Wim Hof breathing that I do takes like 11 to 12 minutes to do the whole exercise. And if I just sit out there, look at the horizon, do the Wim Hof breathing, I get maximum amount of oxygen, some blood flow. I wake up, I get some vitamin D, some sun, and I relax my eyes. And then you just feel good. You can just kind of feel some of the tenseness and kind of between my shoulder blades and my back just kind of drifts off. And it's a really good way to start the day. And then over time, that starts kind of just recalibrating my circadian rhythm so that I can get to bed quicker and I get into a REM sleep and I stay in there longer. And then that was one of the things that screws me up, is because I'm like, really? You only need 5 hours of sleep a night? Is that real? You know, but it seems real. Cowboy hat giveaway. I'm down. Tell me what size. We'll do a cowboy hat. I like Stetsons. I like Resistos. You guys tell me what you want. I'll do a cowboy hat giveaway straight here from Montana. Let's see here. Todd, Lindy, and Michael are my favorite. Wow, thank you so much. I'll get you the Venmo later for saying that. You guys are amazing, inspiring, and look so healthy losing it. So proud of you guys. Thank you so much, Anna. And
thank you.
You're incredible. Anna loses 20 sizes and she's proud of us. Crazy. Incredible.
Amazing.
Back to the lactose, sugar, and cheese. Even though it's a very small amount, didn't it cause you to keep those pesky sugar cravings, since some of us can't moderate it? Again,
absolutely.
I didn't have sugar cravings from it. I just can't. I had cheese cravings for it, is what I had. Like, I don't eat cheese and then crave a cookie or something. I eat cheese and then I crave more cheese.
Right. No, I crave everything. It's just like it. I don't get that off switch. So whatever you put in front of me, I'll eat it. Yeah. So I'm the same. I can't moderate it, and it does cause me to crave everything.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well. Yeah. For me, I really think it's the casomorphine that I think is, if something's lighting up that drug part of your brain, that endorphin part, it's the casomorphine. That's why they say it's so addictive. It's because of the casomorphine, because it lights up the addiction centers of your brain, and just like sugar. So I would say if there's a link there, it's less the carbohydrates and more the casomorphine, if I had to guess, because I don't have that problem with eggs, and I eat far more carbohydrates in eggs than I do in milk or something, and I don't have any appetite problem with the eggs. You know what I mean?
But I guess we're all different levels of broken, aren't we? You just have to find what works for you. So
we're all different.
N equals 1. I would not be here each week active in carnivore if it were not for Todd, Lindy, Michael. They are inspirations. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was the plan, and that makes us very happy. And that keeps us accountable. This community is what keeps us going strong too, because, like, I don't know, I've always said this, especially men. I think men are way better. Well, Jordan Peterson says this all the time. Men are way better when we have something to sacrifice ourselves to that's bigger than us. Like, point being is, I was just an addict to everything when I just had myself to worry about. But when I had a wife or other bigger things to worry about that I was accountable to, made me a way more serious person about it. And now that's what this carnivore community is. I don't want to fail, because I got a lot of people hoping that they can see this through, so that they got some hope, and that keeps things very on track for me. And I, it looks like we're doing this for you guys, but we're doing it more for ourselves than anybody. Having you guys to talk to and report to keeps us so laser focused. So at age 20, if you gain the average holiday weight every year and never lose it, by the time a person is 40, they will have gained 140 pounds. Yeah, a whole nother person. That's true. And if you drink 4 Red Bulls a day, by the time you're 39, you can get to 700 pounds for sure. Carnivore at 60. Question: could not walk 18 months ago on 25 meds, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, fatty liver, sleep apnea, neuropathy, clogged arteries, depression, autoimmune. All
I think we had this one before, didn't we?
Well, he had mentioned it, but he was.
Wow.
He broke it all down.
Dang.
Yeah. Congratulations, man. That is incredible.
Wow.
Man, keep telling your story, man. Everybody go subscribe to Carnivore at 60. He's got an incredible story. Kit, I have a hard time eating enough today. I ate, well, I think 2 burger patties, 10 slices of bacon, and 2 eggs.
Up the eggs. Up the eggs. Eat like 10 eggs a day. Eat as much cholesterol as you, Lindy's smiling, as much cholesterol you can possibly get your hands on. Eat 30 eggs a day if you have to.
Yeah, and if you're like me and you can't get the quantity in there, drink your eggs. I do my colada. I do like the egg yolks, about 4 or 10 if you want to. Add some tallow and a bit of butter, bit of salt. Blitz it up in your NutriBullet. It becomes all frothy. It's really nice, and I drink that. Have it hot. Add hot water and then blitz it. It's very nice, very creamy.
That's awesome.
It's nice before bed too.
Well,
that extra hit of fat makes you sleep well.
Thomas is throwing in some advice too. He uses sour cream to make deviled eggs. That's awesome.
Oh, making me hungry.
Yeah.
Some deviled eggs.
And a pro hack is if you make bacon mayo or make bacon mayo. I said that backwards. And then make deviled eggs out of the bacon mayo. Man,
Todd.
That stuff is addictive. You will eat your body weight in it. All right. Oh, and here's another one. Oh, thank you so much. We got a super chat. Hey, Thomas, $5 toward that cowboy hat giveaway. All right, it's on now. Put in the chat. Are you Team Resistol or Team Stetson?
And what about a Kubra?
You want the Kubra? Well, how am I going to get one to you? I'm going to have to give you back the one you bought me. Send it down to Australia. But yeah, for sure. Like Lindy, I found cheddar cheese was calling me all the way from the fridge to my bed.
It does. It's those voices. Yeah.
What was that cartoon when you were young? It was a Disney cartoon where the scent would come out like steam and it had
pick you up.
Yeah, and it would beckon you. That's
Oh.
funny. I know that one. What about sour cream? Yeah, exactly. So sour cream is my favorite dairy, and my particular vice. If I only let myself have it during the holidays, and it's because I like sour cream and horseradish sauce with my beef, and so that's my prime rib holiday splurge. But if I start eating sour cream now, I have not tried this. It makes me wonder if the raw kefir, because it tastes just like sour cream to me, if that would be a substitute that would be a better substitute, which I'm guessing it probably would be. So I might try the raw kefir next time. But sour cream, still, the pasteurized stuff makes me eat way too much of it. I get those 3-pound buckets at Costco, and then 2 days later it's gone. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
The thing about dairy, if it's fermented, like the kefir you're talking about, Todd, or raw cheese, or even cheese, sour cream, fermented, it's kind of like fermented vegetables. So some of they got live cultures that they're helping to make it more digestible. Okay. So yeah, so that's something about dairy that's interesting. It's especially if it's fermented dairy, it might be easier to digest.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. All right. We made it. We actually went overtime, which we never hardly do anymore, but we went 3 hours, 20 minutes. We appreciate all the questions. Hit that wheel. Here comes the air fryer.
See my name popping in there.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael.
I was going to laugh if you won that, Michael. I was going to cry laughing.
Congratulations, LD Hamilton. Yay.
All right. So LD Hamilton, what you need to do is see this is your YouTube profile picture. You need to go into the YouTube app, take a screenshot of this profile, and then send it where, Lindy?
Oh, so we can send it to Michael or me because it's whose channel? SBG Challenge
That's
at gmail.com.
Yep.
SBG Challenge at gmail.com.
And you are the winner of a fantastic new tasty air fryer. Congratulations. And we want to thank Benjamin so much for being our special guest today. And Benjamin, where can everybody find you at?
Thank you very much, Todd, Lindy, and Michael. I had a fantastic time. I'd love to be a guest again. That was tremendous fun. UltimateHealthModel.com is our website. Our Instagram is Ultimate Health Model at Instagram. Our TikTok is Ultimate Health Model. Just remember Ultimate Health Model. Tattoo that on their forearm. Then you'll know who we are. Ultimate Health Model is really, like limited. Yeah. Oh, she's putting up there. Yeah. So and that's our podcast too. So that's where they can find me. And once again, thank you so much. It was a tremendous amount of fun and learning our stories and answering questions. It was just great.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate having you, and we'll definitely have you back again. And are you going to be on any other channels here in the future, or do you have any plans? What kind of updates or anything you want?
Yes. So I've got some podcasts coming next week. One's called what was it called? There's so many. I'm healing some carnivore, low carb guy. I reached out to him and I told him my story. He goes, "Yeah, great. You can be on my podcast." They could always just go to my Instagram or to find out what I'm doing. Yeah. And they can kind of see there what's going on.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Well, we will see you guys Thursday in the Healing Humanity live stream, Friday in the SBG live stream, or Sunday right here at 700 plus and counting down, or any of those other days in the SBG game. You can find us. And we will love you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.
Bye. See ya.
Thank you for